my own space station. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination, so don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like, and if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 26, Visiting the Office. But now, Yan Fangfang was completely shaken. Everything she had seen with her own eyes had completely subverted her imagination. No matter how knowledgeable she was, as far as she knew, no one had been able to achieve such technology from a realistic point of view. Why bother with a bicycle? Why bother with a bicycle? With such a thick thigh to rely on, everything you eat, drink, and use is arranged for you. Clearly, wouldn't it be nice to be a follower and just eat and drink without worry? But could she do that? Yan Fangfang fell into a dilemma. The few underlings were still waiting for Yan Fangfang's stance. Seeing Yan Fangfang's expression, they didn't dare to make a sound. Dongfang Chen saw it all but didn't push the issue. He wanted this effect. All the facts were laid out here, and the decision was up to her. Conversely, he wasn't worried about her causing trouble with the queen bee watching. Even if she was a fly or an ant, she couldn't do anything without permission. After touring the production warehouse, the group returned to the training area. Some were excited, some were calm, and some were thoughtful, whispering in small groups, "Everyone, quiet down." Dongfang Chen cleared his throat and said everyone stopped their private conversations and quickly lined up. The production warehouse is the foundation of our survival. This is the first and only time I've taken everyone to see it to minimize the risk of external viruses contaminating the production warehouse. It will be completely closed from now on, and no one will be allowed to enter at the same time. I hope everyone will abide by the confidentiality regulations and not reveal anything about the base to the outside world. I'm saying this up front. Whoever leaks information, I'm sorry, but they will have to leave the base. We won't take them back in the future. Did everyone hear that? Yes, boss, the crowd responded in unison. Next, you have the entire night to consider whether to inject the antigen serum. I respect everyone's choice and will not make it mandatory. Meet here tomorrow morning to prepare for the injection. Brother Zhang and Brother Shen, you two stay behind. The rest of you are dismissed. After Dongfang Chen finished speaking, he announced the dismissal order. The crowd slowly dispersed. Dongfang Chen said to Zhang Yuanke, "Brother Zhang, what about you? Have you thought it over?" Xiao Chen, "I've thought about this question for a long time. To be honest, if you hadn't dragged me into hoarding supplies, I might have been infected already compared to being bitten by a zombie. I think this is much better. I don't understand the whole gene thing, but I just think it's the same as a vaccine." Zhang Jie replied frankly, "Yes, in essence, it is a vaccine." Dongfang Chen replied, "Then that settles it. Let's do it." Brother Zhang stretched out his arm. Dongfang Chen was very touched. A friend in need is a friend indeed. This feeling of being trusted can really give people immense strength. Dongfang Chen wasn't pretentious either. He took out a tube of reagent, removed the protective cap, and injected it directly. "Brother Shen, what about you?" Dongfang Chen turned to ask Shen Wengang. "Of course, I have to do it. Luo is a mutant now and will become stronger and stronger in the future if I don't become a mutant. Will I have to rely on my own sister to protect me in the future?" Shen Wengang replied without thinking, "Okay, then stretch out your arm." After getting the injection, the two felt no different from getting a regular vaccine. "Brother Zhang, Brother Shen, to observe your reaction after injecting the antigen reagent, I'm afraid you'll have to rest here with me tonight. You two, please come with me to the office," Dongfang Chen explained. "That's great, Xiao Chen, let me tell you, I've always wanted to visit your office," Brother Zhang said excitedly, leaning closer after hearing Dongfang Chen invite them to the office. Dongfang Chen's office door had been modified by the queen bee from the outside. It looked like an ordinary door, but it was actually completely locked and very thick. Only when Dongfang Chen arrived would the door open automatically if anyone else came, even if you used a bomb. Trying to break in would be a single word, difficult, because 10 miniature automatic control robots were placed inside the door, specifically to guard it. The two didn't understand and couldn't see the trick. In short, they just felt that it was classy and more intelligent than the doors they usually saw. The three entered the office, and the lights turned on automatically, but all the electronic screens were off. "Both of you, please sit wherever you like." Dongfang Chen sat behind his desk, gesturing for the two to find a place to sit. The two looked around but didn't see anything special. There was just a huge screen on the wall. They had that in their living area too anyway. Money wasn't an issue, and most places had 100-inch TVs. It was just that here, 6 100-inch TVs were pieced together. Xiao Chen, your office is bare. There's nothing here. Why are you making it so mysterious? Brother Zhang said casually. Xiaolin, turn on the base projection. Dongfang Chen ignored him and directly gave the order before the two could react. The big screen lit up instantly, and blue light flashed in the office. Brother Zhang and Brother Shen quickly stood up and walked to the screen. Good heavens, high technology, Brother Zhang exclaimed, looking at the familiar yet unfamiliar structure on the screen. Hey, that's not right, boss. This structure is a bit different from our base, Brother Shen said. Where's it different? Brother Zhang was just watching the excitement, asking curiously. Look, our base currently has 4 underground floors, right, but in this picture, there are clearly 6 floors, Brother Shen said, pointing and counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, that's right, how come there are 6 floors? Brother Zhang also said. That's why I said our base isn't as simple as it looks on the surface, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Wearing a mysterious expression, the two were puzzled. Didn't you feel the stairs were very long when you went to the production warehouse today? Dongfang Chen didn't hide anything and asked directly. Now that you mention it, it was indeed very long. Could it be? Brother Zhang seemed to realize something. That's right. In fact, there are 2 more floors hidden between the 3rd and 4th floors. I see. Brother Shen said the two didn't ask what was on the hidden 2 floors. They knew that if Dongfang Chen wanted to say, he would naturally say it, of course. If he didn't say it, there must be a reason for not saying it. Both of you are the people I trust the most, so it's okay to tell you, Dongfang Chen said, standing up and walking to the screen, pointing to the 4th floor. This floor is the control core of the entire base, not to mention you. Even I can't enter when it was built. I never intended to let anyone in. In fact, it was the hive built by the Queen Bee herself, and the Queen Bee's daily task was to continuously manufacture bee ant robots and control those bee ant robots to complete various tasks in the base. Next, Dongfang Chen pointed to the 5th floor and said, this floor is the power generation room. The entire base's electricity comes from here. The two nodded in understanding. The base had long achieved independent power supply, and everyone knew this. It's just that no one knew where the electricity came from, and now, the two finally knew. Dongfang Chen also had other considerations for letting the two know these things. After all, the two managed 2 guard teams. Knowing more things would allow them to make more reasonable arrangements in daily affairs. There's one more thing I need to discuss with you too, Dongfang Chen continued. Oh, Xiao Chen, tell us, Brother Zhang said. It's like this for the past few months. Everyone has been training their physical fitness in the base. It's time to adjust. The two listened carefully without speaking. We'll start injecting the antigen serum tomorrow if nothing unexpected happens. A small number of people may choose not to inject. Those who have been injected with the antigen serum will have immunity and can go out for combat training, and for those who choose not to inject, my idea is to either transfer them to internal affairs, otherwise, going out would be equivalent to sending them to their deaths, Dongfang Chen said. Damn it, if anyone dares to refuse the injection, I'll skin them alive, Shen Wengang said fiercely. Upon hearing this, Brother Zhang didn't speak. His group of old brothers would definitely not have such a problem. If there were any, they would have come to him long ago. If there was a problem, it would definitely appear in Shen Wengang's team. There was no way around it. The people in the second team were pieced together. Everyone hadn't fought together, and they all had their own thoughts, making it difficult to unify them. Chapter 27 Mass Vaccination. Damn it. Anyone who dares to refuse the injection, I'll skin them alive, Shen Wengang said fiercely. Upon hearing this, Brother Shen, there's no need for that. We need people for internal affairs anyway. We can't have the elderly and children doing the work. As I said, let everyone decide for themselves whether or not to get the antigen injection. Dongfang Chen comforted. In reality, he had a good idea of who was willing and who wasn't. Moreover, he was well aware that some people came to the base with their own purposes. However, as long as they didn't pose a threat to the base, he wanted to keep them around, in case they might be useful later. Regarding the matter of combat training, what do you two brothers think? Dongfang Chen continued with the previous topic. I think it's absolutely necessary. My old brothers have been itching for it. They're just eating and doing nothing at the base every day, and everyone's getting impatient. It's just that you've been holding them back, and we don't have suitable weapons and equipment, so everyone has had to wait patiently. Just now, during lunch, those guys were practically urging me to death, asking when they could go out and kill zombies, Brother Zhang said with a wry smile. Brother Shen, what do you think? Dongfang Chen nodded after listening to Brother Zhang and continued to ask Shen Wengang, I agree as well. I have no experience in marching and fighting. But precisely because I have no experience, I feel that we must go out and practice in real combat, otherwise, it's just empty talk. Also, my situation is different from Brother Zhang's. There are all kinds of people in the team. Everyone is used to doing their own thing, and they might even wet their pants on the battlefield. Shen Wengang replied truthfully, yes, that's right. Without experiencing brutal battles, people will never grow. Dongfang Chen also agreed, then let's do it this way. After everyone gets the antigen injection tomorrow, we'll rest for a day and observe. If there are no special circumstances, we'll start the day after tomorrow. The two nodded in agreement. Oh. Right, there's one more thing. In a few more days, another batch of antigen serum will be produced. Do you two think we should give it to all the elderly and children in the base? Dongfang Chen continued to ask. What? Give it to everyone? Both of them were shocked. If this kind of antigen medicine were to be known outside, wouldn't people be fighting tooth and nail for it? And now you want to give everyone an injection? Isn't that wasteful? Isn't that wasteful? Can such wastefulness be allowed? But after calming down and thinking about it, there's a reason for giving the injections. Although the base is very safe, viruses are invisible and intangible. It's better to be safe than sorry. Getting the injection can save lives. This is what I'm thinking. Once the guards go out to perform tasks, they'll inevitably bring viruses in and out every day. If everyone isn't immune, it'll always be a worry. So, I thought about it later. Isn't medicine produced to save lives? What's the point of keeping the medicine if you've already lost your life? Dongfang Chen explained. Little Chen, you're right. I think it's very necessary. What you said about genes and all that, I don't think there's any need to explain it. Just because I get the antigen injection, does that mean I'm no longer Wei Shan's father? Don't you think so? The most important thing is for the family to be safe. Brother Zhang said. Dongfang Chen didn't want to explain either. The matter of gene changes mentioned in the morning was just to give those who didn't want to get the antigen injection a way out. Okay, since everyone has no objections, we'll give everyone an injection in a few days when the medicine is produced, Dongfang Chen said with a serious business concluded. Everyone sat together, drinking tea, and began to chat about everything under the sun. During the chat, they mentioned the current situation outside, which could only be described as miserable in the north. Winter is freezing cold. Temporary settlements don't have heating, and groups of people live in temporary tents, shivering from the cold. Several large power plants have been paralyzed due to various problems such as zombie attacks, coal shortages, personnel losses, and equipment damage. Other problems arising from the electricity problem followed one after another. Large data centers paralyzed, frequent network failures. This has led to less and less information being available through the internet. Perhaps in many unknown places, one tragic event after another is constantly happening. Early the next morning, everyone consciously came to the training area. After a night, everyone must have thought it over clearly. Now listen to my command. Those who are unwilling to get the antigen injection, step forward, Dongfang Chen said. Report. Someone shouted. Speak. Dongfang Chen replied. Boss, I want to ask, what will happen if I refuse to get the antigen injection? The man asked. I've said it before, whether or not to get the antigen injection is entirely voluntary. It's just that those who get the antigen injection can go out to perform tasks. Those who don't get it can choose to transfer to internal affairs. Because I don't want to see everyone go out to their deaths, Dongfang Chen explained. Yes, instructor. I choose not to get it. The man took a step forward. Immediately afterward, 3 more people came out. 3 of the 4 were subordinates of Yan Fangfang. What Dongfang Chen found strange was that Yan Fangfang actually chose to get the injection. Strange as it was, Dongfang Chen didn't make any indication. With the help of 2 nurses, it was quick to give dozens of people the injections. Brother Zhang also made other work arrangements for the 4 who refused the injection. Boss, Yan Fangfang said to Dongfang Chen with a strange expression after getting the injection. Yes. Hello, Sister Yan. Is there something you need? Dongfang Chen asked politely. I wonder if it's convenient to talk, Sister Yan asked. Yes. Then let's go to the conference room, Dongfang Chen said. The 2 arrived at the conference room. Sister Yan, please say what's on your mind. Dongfang Chen got straight to the point. Little Chen, is the antigen medicine really developed by you? Yan Fangfang asked. Is she about to reveal her hand? Dongfang Chen frowned slightly. He had always been wary of Yan Fangfang and her group causing trouble. However, he hadn't anticipated that she would reveal her hand. Yan Fangfang wasn't a simple gang leader. Xiaolin had searched for her information on the semi-paralyzed internet, And her background was extraordinary. She was a PhD in neurobiology from Kyoto Medical University and had just obtained her doctoral degree less than 2 years ago, but that wasn't the main thing. Her father, Jens Hengping, was a member of the National People's Congress and also the commander of the Southwest Military Region. With such a deep background, why would she hide in the village and engage in robbery for no reason? Of course, his base wasn't famous either. Besides the few doctors who had left, not many people knew about it. Therefore, the assumption that Yan Fangfang deliberately infiltrated the base to obtain information couldn't be established. So Dongfang Chen once thought that her purpose here was likely to gain control of the base. After all, her identity was what it was. Therefore, as long as they didn't take any excessive actions, Dongfang Chen didn't want to offend her deliberately and wanted them to back down. But today, from Yan Fangfang agreeing to get the antigen medicine to asking to talk to him, he hadn't anticipated any of it. Does it make a difference whether it is or isn't? Dongfang Chen didn't answer directly. It makes a big difference, Yan Fangfang replied with utmost seriousness. Oh? Then tell me about it. Dongfang Chen threw the question back. If it is, I hope you can contribute the production technology. Impossible. Yan Fangfang was interrupted before she could finish speaking. You? Yan Fangfang glared angrily. All right. Miss Yan. It's impossible to contribute the technology because I don't have this technology. Dongfang Chen didn't want to make the relationship too strained and said a compromise. This was actually true. He didn't have this technology. The space station possessed this technology, and the research and production steps were completed by the Queen Bee controlling the robots. Hearing this, Yan Fangfang's expression softened. Yan Fangfang also felt that it was impossible for Dongfang Chen to have it. He must have the support of a large behind-the-scenes consortium, controlling advanced production rooms like production warehouses that are fully automated and unattended, so that he can continuously obtain products. She was very clever and guessed half of it correctly. He did control a fully automated antigen production line, but it wasn't supported by any consortium. Then can you contact the forces behind you? I hope to have a face-to-face meeting with your superiors, Yan Fangfang continued. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Showdown. Then, could you contact the force behind you? I hope to have a face-to-face meeting with your superior, Yan Fangfang continued. What do you want to discuss? Dongfang Chen jokingly asked. You. Dongfang Chen, this matter is very important. It concerns the lives and futures of everyone. It's not a game. Seeing Dongfang Chen's dismissive attitude, Yan Fangfang became stern. Oh? Then what do you think I'm doing right now? Dongfang Chen retorted sharply. Yan Fangfang fell silent. Let me put it this way, Miss Yan. First, this technology isn't something I can just give away as I please. Second, the force behind me isn't something you can handle. Third, I see moral blackmail as nothing more than bandit logic. If you want to talk, you need to have the attitude for it. If you just want to flaunt your young Mrs. Power here, then I'm sorry, that doesn't work on me. Dongfang Chen's words were also harsh. Without waiting for Yan Fangfang to speak, Dongfang Chen continued to add, moreover, it's not you who should be talking to me. At this point, Yan Fangfang understood what he meant and angrily asked, you investigated me. I wouldn't call it that. I'm just thinking about the safety of the base, Dongfang Chen said, already losing his patience. He thought she was some old fox, but after all this time, she's just a little chick, a naive little chick. So, you knew my identity from the beginning? Yan Fangfang continued to press. Yes, Dongfang Chen replied. Then why didn't you kick me out at the beginning? There's no need. The base is everyone's base. As long as you don't cause trouble, I naturally welcome more people to come. Dongfang Chen replied frankly. You're really confident, Yan Fangfang joked. Alright, if there's nothing else, then let's leave it at that, Dongfang Chen said, losing interest in continuing the conversation, and turned to leave. Hey. Wait, Yan Fangfang hurriedly stopped him. Anything else? Dongfang Chen asked impatiently, turning his head. Could you give me an extra dose of the antigen serum? I'm willing to buy it, Yan Fangfang asked. Logically speaking, Dongfang Chen wouldn't even bother with such an unreasonable request. But the person in front of him was different, with a powerful backer behind her. So, although her actions were both childish and thoughtless, he still had to give her the respect she deserved. What do you need it for? Dongfang Chen asked. I want to take a dose to my dad, Yan Fangfang explained. Since Dongfang Chen had investigated her, she thought he probably knew who her dad was. Dongfang Chen frowned and thought for a moment, not answering immediately, but instead asking, "Aren't you worried there might be something wrong with the antigen?" Dongfang Chen asked, "Didn't I already take it?" Yan Fangfang replied cryptically. There were multiple layers of meaning in this sentence. One layer was saying, "I took it, and I'm fine." The second layer was saying, "I took it, so I'm a walking test subject, and you can do all sorts of tests on me when I get back." Dongfang Chen nodded slightly, thought for a moment, and finally replied, "I can give you an extra dose, but it's not free." "Oh? What do you want?" Yan Fangfang asked, overjoyed. "I'm not going to ask for an exorbitant price. 1 dose of the antigen for 100 crystal cores. This is just a friendship price for you, and it's a one-time offer." Dongfang Chen replied. "What are crystal cores?" Yan Fangfang asked. As soon as Yan Fangfang asked, Dongfang Chen immediately understood. He overestimated her, definitely overestimated her. "You, the beloved daughter of the commander, a PhD in biology, and a big sister who robs houses outside, have you been wasting your time? You don't know what crystal cores are." It's understandable if ordinary bandits don't know. If you don't know, it means that Huaguo's research center, and even the Huaguo Congress, have very limited understanding of the virus. Dongfang Chen blinked, turned around, looked at her, and said, "Sister Yan, crystal cores are a translucent, multifaceted crystalline substance that gradually forms in zombies from the day they zombify, also called zombie cores, usually located in the brainstem. Newly zombified zombies may not have them, but they basically form after more than 15 days of zombification." "Oh? Is that so?" "So, you mean you have to kill at least 100 zombies to have a chance of getting 100 zombie cores?" Yan Fangfang asked thoughtfully. "That's right," Dongfang Chen replied with a smile. "That's not right. This expression is wrong. Why is this kid smiling so strangely?" Yan Fangfang thought, sizing him up. "What's wrong?" Dongfang Chen asked, feeling uncomfortable from her gaze. "Can it be cheaper?" Yan Fangfang asked. "Damn it. Miss Yan. Do you think this is a vegetable market? You're even trying to haggle," Dongfang Chen exclaimed. "Can't I haggle?" Yan Fangfang asked, pretending to be innocent. "Then I won't sell it." Dongfang Chen pretended to stop doing business and prepared to turn around and leave. Hey, I'm just asking, do you have to be like that?" Yan Fangfang quickly stopped him. "That's more like it." Dongfang Chen turned around triumphantly, looking like a petty person who had achieved his goal. "Let me tell you, 100 crystal cores for a dose of the serum is a great deal for you. This is a one-time offer, and there won't be this price later. You don't know, the cost of developing this thing is very high, and the sacrifices are also very great." Yan Fangfang was a medical student and knew how much effort it took to develop a vaccine and how many resources were burned. So, it was understandable that the price was a bit high. But what did he mean by there wouldn't be this price later? Could she still buy it? So, she quickly asked, "Do you mean you can sell it in large quantities?" Here it comes. That's what he wanted, and he couldn't let this half day of acting go to waste. He replied pretentiously, "Not in the short term, we can't produce that much. Look, there are still many people in our base who haven't been vaccinated yet. Once everyone in our base has been vaccinated, we can consider selling you some. How much can you produce each day?" Yan Fangfang quickly asked. "Alice. The production is pitifully low, only 2 doses can be produced each day." Dongfang Chen shook his head and sighed. Although the current production of the antigen was not high, that was because the queen bee didn't invest in many robots, but it wasn't so low that only 5 doses could be produced each day. As a natural con artist, he had a habit of not telling the truth if he could con someone, especially in matters that were closely related to his own interests. 2 doses. Yan Fangfang was stunned. "You call that production? Isn't that just an experimental product from the lab?" "That's right. Didn't I say that this thing is very expensive?" Dongfang Chen said. Dongfang Chen was naturally not afraid. In this world, no one but him could create this antigen. So, he could say whatever was convenient. "Okay, wait a moment, I'll make a call." Yan Fangfang hurriedly took out her phone to make a call, and Dongfang Chen didn't stop her. "Go ahead and call. If you can get through, I'll take your last name." She carried a satellite phone with her, which her dad gave her, directly connected to a military satellite. In order not to reveal her identity, she had never used it. She took out her phone and turned it on. "Huh? Why is there no signal? Are you kidding me? What kind of junk is this?" You said there would be a signal as long as I was on Blue Star? You're bragging, aren't you? Don't bother, you can't get through, Dongfang Chen said gloatingly. You? Yan Fangfang was speechless. That's right. If I didn't have this ability, would I let you wander around the base? Dongfang Chen boasted triumphantly. Can you let me make a call? I'll have my dad bring the crystal cores over. I want all the antigens, no matter how much you produce. Yan Fangfang patted her chest and guaranteed. Forget it. You should just go out and kill zombies tomorrow. When you have enough crystal cores, I'll give you a dose to take back. If you say it on the phone, your dad will think you've been scammed, Dongfang Chen said. Am I that easily scammed? Yan Fangfang said dissatisfied. What do you think? Dongfang Chen didn't talk to her anymore and turned to leave. Yan Fangfang was speechless. Standing there dumbfounded, Dongfang Chen arranged for Brother Zhang to closely observe the people who had been vaccinated, and no one showed any allergic reactions the next morning. In the underground base training area, because 4 people didn't get vaccinated yesterday, there were 4 fewer people today. Comrades, today is your first day of combat training, so we won't arrange specific tasks. Everyone should focus on adapting to the weapons, equipment, and combat methods. In order to ensure that everyone can return safely, no one is allowed to take off the protective suits without permission or act alone. Do you hear me, Brother Zhang? As the captain arranged. Yes, everyone said in unison. Next, come over in groups to implant a bone mic. Brother Zhang ordered. The bone mic was mentioned earlier. Full name, micro-implantable bone mic, which requires special equipment to wear. After wearing, it can only be removed by violently destroying the ear canal unless the device is removed. The bone mic is connected via satellite signal, and its function is the same as a walkie-talkie. Everyone, test the signal and volume, check the weapons and equipment, check the energy bar magazines. Okay, let's go. After 30 minutes of arrangement, everyone lined up in 2 teams and walked out of the underground base. Chapter 29 First Mission. This scene. Well, everyone, including their heads, was wrapped in black combat suits. If they weren't wearing other clothes, they'd look like a bunch of Spider-Men. Now, with camouflage suits over them, they really look like a gang of bandits preparing to rob a bank with guns. Captain, where are we going? Ruan Xingho asked through the bone mic. Let's go check out my old shop first, Brother Zhang replied. The 40-plus people were divided into groups of 5, acting independently before separating. Zhang Yuanqi instructed everyone not to go too deep and to call for help immediately if they saw anything amiss. Roger, Ruan Xingho replied. Ruan Xingho's gun was custom-made by Dongfang Chen. Since he only had one hand, his gun was shaped like an oversized pistol, but much longer than a regular pistol. The group held their guns in one hand and quickly ran towards the park exit. Brother Zhang's shop was only about 3 kilometers away from Binjiang Park. After about half an hour, everyone arrived at the narrow alley where the shop was located. Brother Zhang issued a series of instructions with hand gestures. The group raised their guns and quickly took their positions. 1 person watched the front, 1 watched the left, 1 watched the right, and 2 watched the rear. The 5 formed a defensive formation, slowly advancing cautiously. The street was full of parked vehicles in disarray. Some windows were shattered, and some car windows, bodies, and interiors still had blackened bloodstains. The weather in December was bleak. The ground, car roofs, roadside public benches, were all covered with fallen leaves and dust, as well as rainwater stains from previous rains. The protective suits had a cold-proof function, so everyone didn't feel cold. Stepping on the thick fallen leaves on the ground inevitably made cracking sounds. After advancing about 50 meters, they suddenly heard a clang sound from a shop on the left. The group's hearts jolted, and they quickly closed ranks. Chu Hangping, positioned on the left, pointed his gun at the shop. Slowly, they approached the shop door. The group quickly changed formation. Brother Zhang and Ruan Xingho leaned against the walls on the left and right sides, respectively. Chu Hangping looked at Brother Zhang, waiting for instructions. Brother Zhang nodded, and Chu Hangping kicked the door open. Meow. A cat's meow sounded. As the sound faded, a cat quickly ran out of the shop. The group breathed a sigh of relief, straightened their bodies, and put away their guns. Damn. That scared me, Chu Hangping said as soon as he finished speaking. The group felt something was wrong, and they instantly felt a cold sweat running down their backs. Just as they were about to raise their guns, they heard a roar sound. A zombie rushed out of the shop and pounced on Chu Hangping. The zombie's strength was surprisingly great, and Chu Hangping was almost pinned to the ground like a large bolster, unable to move. With a pew sound, Brother Zhang fired, and the zombie's head exploded. Thick, Brownish-black blood flowed all over Chu Hangping's face. Fortunately, the protective suit protected him, and the blood didn't actually flow onto his face immediately afterward. The zombie fell limply. Pressing down on Chu Hangping, Brother Zhang kicked the zombie away and pulled Chu Hangping up. Chu Hangping wiped the disgusting blood from his face and nodded to Brother Zhang. Indicating that he was fine, Brother Zhang bent down and took out the dagger from his leg. He cut open the back of the zombie's head and successfully took out a blue crystal of about 2 centimeters from it. Squad leader, is this the crystal core? Ruan Xingho asked. Zhang Yuanqi nodded. Dongfang Chen had talked about the crystal cores during the training in the base before. He also told everyone that this thing was very useful. Many things in the base's production and construction required it, so he asked everyone to collect as much as possible. However, this was the first time everyone had seen a real crystal core. You said the boss is also in the base every day, and hasn't come out like us. How does he know these things? Ruan Xingho asked curiously. You can't change this bad habit. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask, just do your job, Brother Zhang criticized sternly. He. Squad leader is right. Huh? Squad leader, what's wrong? Ruan Xingho flattered with a smile, suddenly seeing Zhang Yuanqi staring blankly at the zombie's corpse, not moving. Brother Zhang didn't answer. Squad leader, do you know him? Chu Hangping asked. Brother Zhang nodded and said, we were all business owners on the same street, always seeing each other. Although I can't recognize his appearance anymore, I still recognize his clothes. Chu Hangping gently patted Brother Zhang's shoulder, comforting him. He was a pitiful person too. Brother Zhang shook his head, indicating that he was fine, and sighed. On the other side, Yan Fangfang's team. Her team was all veterans who had been following her. The group had just experienced a small battle, killing 2 zombies. Yan Fangfang dug out the crystal core from the back of the zombie's head, looked at it in her hand, and froze there. Sister Yan, is this the crystal core? A man asked. Yan Fangfang nodded, without speaking. Sister Yan, I think we need to go back once, the man said in sign language. Yan Fangfang still didn't reply. Sister Yan, the intelligence here is very important, you don't? The man continued to gesture. Yan Fangfang directly raised her hand to interrupt the man, angrily gesturing. What, do you think I'm acting like a spoiled young lady? No, the man hurriedly waved his hand. It's good if you don't. I've said it many times, don't discuss anything else here. This base is not simple, very not simple. Don't worry, I have my own plans. Your current task is to eliminate zombies with all your strength and collect this crystal core. I have great use for it, Yan Fangfang ordered with gestures. Yes, the group nodded in response. The bone mic might be monitored, so everyone didn't dare to communicate directly through language, and could only use sign language inside the underground base. Dongfang Chen sat in the office, leaning back in his chair, rubbing his hands, looking at the screen. The screen was divided into several small windows, which displayed the movements of each group in real time. Dongfang Chen also saw the actions of Yan Fangfang and her group. He smiled softly, without any expression. Soon it was 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Each group behaved very conservatively, not going too deep. Brother Zhang issued a return order on the main channel. After receiving the order, each group returned one after another, except for Yan Fangfang's group. Sister Yan, we should go back, a team member said. Stop talking nonsense, keep going forward, Yan Fangfang said. But the member hesitated. No buts, execute the order. Yan Fangfang ordered irrefutably. The group had no choice but to form a defensive formation and continue to advance. Yan Fangfang was a little unwilling. So far, she had only collected 6 crystal cores. It would take more than half a month to collect 100 crystal cores. No way. The time is too long. She was a little anxious. Perhaps the powerful equipment gave her the courage to take risks. Dongfang Chen frowned when he saw this scene. He picked up his phone and dialed Brother Zhang's satellite phone. Hello, boss. Zhang Yuanqi answered the phone. Brother Zhang, Yan Fangfang's group hasn't withdrawn. Arrange for someone to go and take a look. The location is near the intersection of Giant Road and Shumo Street, Dongfang Chen said. Okay, boss. Brother Zhang hung up the phone and contacted Ling Zhanhei's group and Tong Li's group nearby on the road. The 3 groups quickly rushed to the target location. The other groups quickly returned according to the established plan. The halo of the sun gradually faded, and the last ray of sunlight disappeared on the horizon. Feeling the arrival of the night, the zombies became active, and the entire city instantly became filled with panic. Yan Fangfang and her group walked cautiously on Shumo Street. For safety reasons, they did not rashly break into buildings. Clang clang, rattle rattle, swish swish. Various noisy sounds came from the stores on both sides. In order to avoid attracting the attention of zombies as much as possible, the group had stopped moving and were nervously looking around. Pew! Yan Fangfang fired a zombie that had just ran out of the store was shot in the head with one shot. The gunshot was not loud, but it still disturbed other zombies. Immediately afterward, 4 or 5 zombies quickly attacked the group, did not hesitate and began to shoot. They were all trained veterans, decisive in their actions, shooting each zombie in the head. As the number of zombies continued to increase, they retreated towards Giant's Road while fighting. Roar! A loud roar sounded immediately afterward. 2 cars flew towards the 5 people. Yan Fangfang quickly leaned back, and the people on the left and right sides leaned to both sides at the same time. The 2 people behind them couldn't dodge in time and were directly hit by the flying cars. Before Yan Fangfang could recover from the sudden accident, a road pole flew towards her. Looking at the flying object, she didn't have time to react. Thinking she was doomed at this moment, the person on the right directly pounced over, blocking in front of her. The speed of the road pole was very fast, and the man was directly knocked away. The road pole lost its momentum and fell to the ground. Chapter 30 Yan Fangfang's Regret and Compromise. In just 10 odd seconds, the situation took a sharp turn. Of the 5-person team, 3 were seriously injured at this moment. Yan Fangfang felt some regret, but she couldn't afford to dwell on it. She quickly sought cover, observing calmly a large, hulking zombie was heading towards them. Pushing aside any obstacles in its path, the cars it shoved aside crashed with loud, echoing thuds. Pew! Yan Fangfang quickly fired, aiming for the behemoth's head. Unfortunately, the laser struck a large zombie's forehead, emitting a puff of smoke, but not causing much damage. The behemoth was getting closer and closer. Only 2 people were still capable of fighting. There was no way the 2 of them could carry 3 seriously injured teammates to safety. Yan Fangfang felt a bit desperate, at a loss. Just then, the sound of gunfire, pew pew pew, came from a distance, all aimed at the large zombie. It was Zhang Ji's 3 teams arriving. The continuous lasers fired from the laser guns converged, creating instantaneous high heat. In less than 3 seconds, they pierced through the large zombie's head. After the behemoth fell, the team members quickly divided tasks, helping the 3 seriously injured individuals retreat. The others guarded the flanks, eliminating any stray zombies that approached. Underground base. Medical area. The 3 injured were undergoing treatment in the treatment room. Yan Fangfang leaned against the wall outside the treatment room, head drooping, tears streaming down her face. Dongfang Chen quickly walked over, looking at Zhang Yuanke beside him, and anxiously asked, "How are they?" Zhang Yuanke replied, "They seem to have fractures. The impact was quite severe, but they're alive." Dongfang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. However, such an incident occurring during the guard team's first mission would greatly affect morale. Dongfang Chen looked down at Yan Fangfang, disheveled and tearful. He wanted to get angry, but inexplicably couldn't. He calmly said, "Yan Fangfang, stand up." Yan Fangfang ignored him, still drooping her head, silently sobbing. "Yan Fangfang, are you testing my patience?" Seeing Yan Fangfang ignoring him, Dongfang Chen's temper flared up. "If you want to die, go die far away. Don't die here. What are you shouting for? What does it matter to you whether I live or die?" Yan Fangfang retorted angrily, standing up. She then wiped the tears from her face with the back of her hand. "I'm telling you. If it weren't for your special status, I wouldn't have sent people to save you. It's fine if you die, but please don't implicate others when you do." Dongfang Chen pointed at her, gritting his teeth as he spoke. "You. Fine, fine, fine. You all bring up my status. What's wrong with my status? Do you think I want this? If I had a choice, I'd rather be born into an ordinary family." Why? Yan Fangfang's emotions collapsed, and she squatted down, crying again. With her personality, under normal circumstances, she would have already exploded with rage and stormed off. But this time was different. This time, it was indeed her fault that 3 teammates were seriously injured. Moreover, Dongfang Chen had a special status. If she just left, it would mean the potential cooperation between them would be completely ruined. Therefore, both publicly and privately, she couldn't leave. Dongfang Chen was probably the first person in a long time to raise his voice at her. Not even her father had done that. What was even more frustrating was that she had to endure being scolded. These factors combined led to her acting uncharacteristically and squatting down to cry after being wronged in this way. Seeing this scene, Dongfang Chen was a little flustered. Even a god of slaughter would retreat in the face of a woman's tears. After a minute of silence, Dongfang Chen sighed and said in a gentler tone, "Yan Fangfang. From now on, you are no longer a member of the basis guard team. and you are also prohibited from going outside. After your 3 subordinates recover, leave together. My place is too small to accommodate a great Buddha like you." With that, Dongfang Chen turned and left. Dongfang Chen. Dongfang Chen, stop! Seeing Dongfang Chen leave, Yan Fangfang hurriedly stood up and shouted loudly, but Dongfang Chen ignored her. He didn't even turn his head, and his pace didn't falter. At this time, many zombies had gathered outside the base, fiercely attacking the walls and gates. This was the first time the base had been attacked. To prevent the gates from being breached, the guard team members were divided into 4 groups, guarding the east, south, west, and north gates respectively. Seeing Dongfang Chen walking over, Ling Zhenhe, who was guarding the east gate, walked over and shouted loudly, "Boss, why are you here?" He had to shout, as the massive gate was being slammed and rattled. Combined with the roars of the massive number of zombies, the mixed sound was deafening. "Just came to take a look. Let's go, up to the wall." Dongfang Chen also shouted loudly. Ling Zhenhe nodded and followed Dongfang Chen up the wall via the side staircase that had been set aside. The wind on the wall was very cold and strong. The people standing on the wall seemed very small looking down from above. Dozens of zombies had gathered at the gate. They kept pushing forward, baring their fangs and claws. They looked like a group of starving people scrambling for food. There were also a few scattered zombies trying to climb up the wall, but none of them succeeded. Dongfang Chen wasn't flustered, just quietly watching. He also occasionally glanced into the distance. Ling Zhenhe and the others followed beside him, also not saying much, just standing there. 10 minutes later, Dongfang Chen took a deep breath. He took out his phone from his pocket and dialed, "Xiaolin, start." Then, he hung up the phone. "Boss, what is this?" Ling Zhenhe asked doubtfully. "It's nothing, just watch," Dongfang Chen replied simply, not explaining. Ling Zhenhe didn't say anything more, quietly waiting. In about a minute or two, the situation outside the wall changed. The zombies stopped attacking the gate and instead scattered in all directions, creating a chaotic scene. But because the wall was high and the light was dim, it was difficult to see clearly. Soon, the zombies began to lie down, unmoving. In about 5 minutes, the scene became completely quiet. "All right, let's go back," Dongfang Chen said. Ling Zhenhe looked shocked and puzzled. What was going on? What happened? Why were all the zombies dead? "Boss, can I go out and take a look?" Ling Zhenhe hesitated for a moment, then asked. "Oh? Sure, go ahead," Dongfang Chen replied, then returned to the underground base on his own. Ling Zhenhe and his group opened the gate and walked out. Nothing. There was nothing, besides some faint scratches and secretions visible on the ground and walls, and the lingering stench of decay in the air. There was nothing else. It was as if the zombies had never been there at all. Where are the zombies? Everyone wondered. The guard team members in the other 3 directions were in the same situation. What happened? Why did the zombies disappear for no reason? Everyone looked at each other, all with confused expressions. Dongfang Chen returned to his office, where Yan Fangfang was waiting at the door. No one could enter the office except Dongfang Chen. "Where did you go?" Yan Fangfang asked. "What? Miss Yan, do I need to report my whereabouts to you?" Dongfang Chen retorted. No, no, no." Yan Fangfang cowered, waving her hands hastily. She had to cower. Dongfang Chen had the antigen, the life-saving medicine that could save countless lives. Moreover, if they could cooperate, it could bring significant political capital to her family. Therefore, Dongfang Chen must not be offended. For this reason, after a complex internal struggle, Yan Fangfang chose to lower her head. Although she was somewhat arrogant and had the temper of a young mistress, it was undeniable that she had an innocent, life-saving heart. If it were only for the benefit of her family, she might have chosen not to compromise and then leave. But in order to allow more people to survive, she had to make sacrifices. Perhaps, a person's growth begins with the first time they lower their head. Chapter 31 Red Oxygen. Yan Fangfang's response was unexpected even to Dongfang Chen, who looked at her in surprise. "What do you want from me?" Dongfang Chen asked. "Can you not make me leave the guard team?" Yan Fangfang pleaded. As expected, "You have to be tough. The game between a man and a woman is like tug of war. If you're tough, she's gentle. If you're gentle, she's tough." Dongfang Chen wasn't being pretentious either, and said, "You're thinking pretty highly of yourself. Let me tell you, it's lucky that the person who got hurt this time was someone you brought. Otherwise, do you think I could have let you off so easily this time? Besides, your subordinates are also people, and now they're also part of my base. Do you think I wouldn't punish you? I'm not saying this to you, but after causing such a big mess, instead of quickly reflecting on the problems within yourself, You're still thinking about being reinstated? What are you thinking, you? Yan Fangfang was just about to get angry. What about me? Dongfang Chen immediately retorted. You can't indulge this kind of young lady. Dongfang Chen? Oh no, boss. How about this? As long as you agree to let me go out and kill zombies, I'll agree to anything you want, okay? Seeing that being soft didn't work, Yan Fangfang started to act coquettishly. Strange, Dongfang Chen didn't take her up on her offer, but instead said with feigned puzzlement, what's strange? What's strange about me? Yan Fangfang was looked at inexplicably. She quickly lowered her head and looked at herself. I was thinking, your subordinate is seriously injured with a fracture, and I don't see a bit of sadness on your face. Instead, you ran over here to act coquettishly with me. Don't you think that's strange? Besides, I'm not interested in old women. Please stay away from me, you're giving me the creeps, Dongfang Chen replied. Dongfang Chen. I'm going to kill you. Yan Fangfang couldn't bear it any longer. She had made concessions again and again, only to be ridiculed time and time again. At this moment, she gritted her teeth. Women of this age group are not to be trifled with, especially when you expose their shortcomings to their face and call them old women. This is simply pulling hair from a tiger's mouth. Tired of living, Dongfang Chen also knew that what he said was a bit too much. So, before Yan Fangfang completely erupted, he quickly opened the door and hid in the office. Dongfang Chen. Open the door. Dongfang Chen. I'm going to kill you. Open the door now, Yan Fangfang shouted loudly while slamming on the door outside. The soundproofing in the room was average. The sound of knocking on the door sounded deeper from the inside, and the shouting was already very soft. There were also several guards in the corridor watching from a distance. They didn't know what was going on, and they didn't dare to interfere. Dongfang Chen was having a headache when Xiaolin spoke. Commander, the system has issued an emergency countdown mission. Would you like to view it? Countdown mission. Dongfang Chen's attention quickly focused. View it. Dongfang Chen replied. Emergency mission notice. Limited time. Situation summary. Abnormal atmospheric composition detected. Sample data shows that the CH4-3 component in the air is seriously excessive. According to the simulation data from the supercomputing center, as the CH4-3 content increases, a layer of molecular optical film will gradually form outside the ozone layer. Once the optical film is formed, it will seriously affect the penetration efficiency of infrared light mission content. Before the molecular optical film is completely formed, help as many human settlements as possible to establish underground survival bases. Mission duration 3 years. Mission start time. Start immediately. Special reminder, mission failure will lead to human extinction. At the end of the notice, the 4 bright red characters human extinction were particularly conspicuous. Subsequently, a constantly flashing countdown appeared on the big screen. 1094. 23. 59. 59. Xiaolin, what exactly is that molecular formula? Dongfang Chen swallowed and asked in shock. CH4-3 molecular cluster is composed of 3 methane molecules. It is not stable under natural conditions and will decompose into methane gas. However, the supercomputing center simulation data shows that CH4-3 in the high altitude is affected by solar radiation and will exhibit extremely strong adsorption. This will cause the surrounding methane molecules to be continuously polymerized, eventually forming a hollow nano-air sac in the shape of a regular dodecahedron, which is CH4-12, and then, Dongfang Chen listened in a daze. Although he was also a university graduate, his major was different after all. The little chemistry knowledge he learned in high school had long been returned to the teacher. Nano-air sac, hey. Okay. Xiaolin, explain it a little simpler. A little easier to understand. I don't understand. Dongfang Chen interrupted Xiaolin as soon as she opened her mouth. What nano? What molecules? Listening to it makes my head spin. Okay. The most critical issue here is that the regular dodecahedron will form a stable hollow structure, similar to a soccer ball. During this process, ozone molecules and oxygen molecules, which act as bridges, will be wrapped inside. Xiaolin explained as much as possible through vivid metaphors, and then? I don't see any connection between this and human extinction. Dongfang Chen still seemed to understand. The 2 ozone molecules and 1 oxygen molecule wrapped in the middle will gradually be ionized into 8 oxygen atoms under the action of solar radiation. And at night, after the solar radiation disappears, the 8 oxygen atoms will recombine into an oxygen molecule. Oh wait. This oxygen molecule composed of 8 oxygen atoms is also called red oxygen. Red oxygen? Dongfang Chen asked suspiciously. Yes, red oxygen. Red oxygen has two characteristics, infrared absorption and magnetic field annihilation. This is also the reason why CH4, forms a molecular optical film outside the ozone layer. Infrared absorption, magnetic field annihilation. Dongfang Chen's hair stood on end. He was dizzy listening to everything before. Only the last 8 words were like a thunderbolt, directly hitting his forehead. What infrared rays and magnetic fields? Anyone with a little knowledge reserve is no stranger to them. People's lives in all aspects, and even the entire blue star ecosystem, cannot be separated from these two things without infrared rays. Photosynthesis cannot be carried out. Wouldn't all the plants and animals have to kick the bucket? Without a magnetic field, oh my god, wouldn't that be a mass extinction? Good gracious. This is simply inhumane. Annihilation of humanity. This is too scary to even think about. It's not that serious. The molecular optical film can absorb and reflect at most 30% of infrared rays. Plant photosynthesis will be affected, but it is not fatal. The most serious problem is the series of changes in ecology, climate, and temperature brought about by this. The chain reaction caused by this will make human survival extremely challenging, Xiaolin said. Then why is this happening? What caused it? Dongfang Chen calmed down and asked again. According to monitoring data, the cause is a type of microorganism living in the soil and sea. These microorganisms mainly grow and reproduce by decomposing the corpses of dead animals and plants. They have mutated due to the influence of viral RNA. This causes them to release CH4, during the process of decomposing food, Xiaolin explained. Truly, success is due to Xiaohe, and failure is also due to Xiaohe. Dongfang Chen understood inside microorganisms have played an immeasurable role in the evolution of life on Blue Star. It is not an exaggeration to call them the creators of life on Blue Star. In the first billions of years, they continuously consumed carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and produced oxygen. This is what made Blue Star turn blue, and what allowed all living things to multiply and thrive. And now, it is microorganisms again, who will personally destroy everything they created. Dongfang Chen felt very tired at this time before. He thought it was difficult to live, but it was just because he didn't have money. But now, wanting to live is really difficult. Wanting to survive, you have to wrestle with the entire Blue Star ecosystem. Is this something that humans can do? Leaning on the sofa, he didn't want to move at all. Why me? I'm not a savior. Why should I bear such a responsibility? Chapter 32 Future Scenario. Dongfang Chen was incredibly annoyed inside. Yan Fangfang was still making a scene outside. However, it was clear that the knocking and shouting weren't as intense as they were at the beginning, probably because she was tired after a long silence. Although Dongfang Chen was extremely unwilling, he still sat up and said to Xiaolin, Xiaolin, turn the entire process you just described into a demonstration animation. Understood, Commander, Xiaolin replied. For artificial intelligence, this was a matter of minutes. Afterward, Dongfang Chen had Xiaolin open the door. Yan Fangfang, seeing the door open, stormed in angrily, but once she was inside, her courage failed her. She had been shouting about killing him outside, but when she actually saw him, she didn't dare to make a sound. She just stood there stupidly, wanting to say something but not knowing how to start. What's wrong? Weren't you going to kill me? Why aren't you doing anything? Dongfang Chen mocked. Boss, I was wrong. Yan Fangfang lowered her head and mumbled. What was that? Dongfang Chen pretended not to hear and asked loudly. Boss, I was wrong. Once bitten, twice shy. This time, Yan Fangfang shouted very loudly. Then tell me, what did you do wrong? Dongfang Chen asked pretentiously. I shouldn't have acted without authorization, Yan Fangfang replied. What else? Dongfang Chen continued to ask. I shouldn't have lost my temper at you, Yan Fangfang replied. What else? Dongfang Chen continued to press, not letting her off the hook. What else? That's it, isn't it? Yan Fangfang thought for a long time but couldn't think of anything else. Think again. Really, that's it. Yan Fangfang spread her hands. Your attitude towards admitting your mistakes isn't sincere? Dongfang Chen leaned back on the sofa and shook his head. Then you tell me. If what you say is right, I'll change. Yan Fangfang completely let go. Now that she had lowered her head, she couldn't give up halfway. I can come up with so many. Look, you're naive, arrogant, have a bad temper, are self-righteous, don't respect the old and love the young, don't follow the rules, can't see the situation clearly, form cliques, attempt to leak team secrets, betray teammates, Dongfang Chen counted them off on his fingers one by one. What do you mean by not respecting the old and loving the young? Forming cliques, leaking secrets, and betraying teammates? Don't make false accusations. I didn't do any of that, Yan Fangfang denied. Okay, you don't admit it, then I'll explain them to you one by one. Dongfang Chen cleared his throat, held out his finger, and began his performance. First, not respecting the old and loving the young. Let me ask you, am I younger than you? And by at least 7 years, right? You're always yelling at me. Do you call that respecting the old and loving the young? You? Okay, Yan Fangfang held it in for a long time, but couldn't say anything. Second, let's talk about forming cliques. Don't you guys always hang out together? Don't you often whisper privately? Even using sign language? What's that about? Are you afraid people will hear something they shouldn't? Are you spying on me? Yan Fangfang asked, pointing at him in surprise. What do you mean spying? That sounds so unpleasant. I'm the supreme commander of the base, and I have a duty to ensure the absolute safety of the base. Besides, there's nothing in this base that I don't know about. Dongfang Chen said pretentiously. She couldn't refute this point now that it had been pointed out to her face. Seeing that Yan Fangfang didn't say anything, Dongfang Chen continued his triumphant performance. Third, attempting to leak secrets. Wow, that's very serious. You could get shot for that. Aren't you always secretly taking out your phone, snapping and snapping pictures? Don't tell me you're going to post them on social media. Besides, even posting them on social media isn't allowed. Okay, since she was being monitored, it was normal for him to know these things. No wonder the photos she had clearly taken couldn't be found in her album. Especially some important photos, which mysteriously disappeared. It turned out that this guy was behind it all. I won't even mention betraying teammates. You don't even care about the safety of your own subordinates, so what does betraying other guard team members matter? Dongfang Chen shrugged, pretending to be indifferent. Fine. I accept everything you said. Is that okay? Can I return to the team now? Yan Fangfang was no longer afraid of anything. No matter what you say, I just want to return to the team. Just admitting it isn't enough. You have to apologize. Apologize to all the guard team members, Dongfang Chen said. Yan Fangfang gritted her teeth, stomped her foot, and said, fine. I'll apologize. I'll apologize in front of all the team members. Anything else? There's one more thing. I'll tell you after you apologize, Dongfang Chen replied with a sly smile. It wasn't easy to make a proud swan lower its head and admit its mistakes. To be honest, it was quite fulfilling. Soon, except for the 3 injured, all the guard team members had gathered in Dongfang Chen's office. In front of all the guard team members, Yan Fangfang lowered her head and spoke in a voice as soft as a mosquito's hum, roughly repeating the mistakes she had just mentioned. Throughout the entire process, she stammered and mumbled. The team members standing opposite her couldn't help but lower their heads and laugh secretly because they didn't dare to move too much. Everyone tried their best to hold it in. Several people even sneezed out mucus. As a result, they were all men in their 30s. This image, tisk, was not flattering. Dongfang Chen didn't ask for more. It was enough. Pushing too hard would easily make the swan fly away. 10 minutes later, Yan Fangfang finished speaking and bowed to everyone. The scene erupted in thunderous applause. This applause was not praising how well she spoke, but praising her growth and her progress. Comrades, we must take this as a warning and not make the same mistakes as Yan Fangfang. From now on, anyone who disobeys orders or refuses to follow arrangements, I will show no mercy and directly expel them from the guard team. Did everyone hear that? After Yan Fangfang finished speaking, Dongfang Chen stood up and said, yes, boss. Everyone answered in unison, all right. Yan Fangfang, return to the team, Dongfang Chen ordered. Yes, boss. Yan Fangfang replied loudly. She had finally passed the test. Yan Fangfang finally breathed a sigh of relief. Comrades, there's another matter I called you to the office for. Next, please watch a video. Dongfang Chen had Xiaolin play the video. Everyone looked at the screen lighting up with confusion, and magnified versions of microorganisms swam across the screen. The video had voiceovers, background music, and subtitles, making it vivid and engaging. Videos are simple and intuitive to watch. Dongfang Chen couldn't help but praise his own cleverness. At the beginning of the video, the wandering microorganisms climbed onto the dead mutated zombies and began to devour them. The virus was ingested into the microorganisms, and the genes mutated. Then, the mutated microorganisms multiplied in large numbers and began to spread across the oceans and land one by one. CH4, 3 molecules, drawn as spheres, were continuously released from the microorganisms and gradually rose into the air. Next, the screen entered space, and a close-up of a CH4-3 molecule began to absorb the surrounding CH4 after being exposed to radiation. Like building blocks, one CH4 after another gradually connected with a CH4-3 under the transport of O3 and O2, and finally formed a spherical regular dodecahedron. NO3 and O2 were finally trapped inside the camera. Zoomed in further, and the O3 and O2 inside the sphere trembled under the irradiation of radiation. As the temperature rose, they gradually became ionized, and 8 oxygen atoms scurried around inside the sphere. As the light on the screen dimmed, the sun set. The 8 oxygen atoms began to calm down, and finally arranged themselves into a blood-red cubic structure. The camera gradually zoomed out, and more circular spheres gathered around, each sphere containing a blood-red cube. The camera zoomed further and further away, and a special atmospheric membrane formed from the small spheres began to form. From a distance, the membrane showed an eerie faint red light. Schematic light rays, drawn as straight lines, shone on the membrane, part of which was reflected back, and part of which shone through the membrane. The perspective moved down along the transmitted light, passed through the atmosphere, and projected onto the ground. The ground was as dim as on a cloudy day. The leaves of plants gradually turned yellow and withered because they could not absorb enough light. The background music began to become intense and rapid, and the screen flashed quickly across the ground, with more and more plants withering and dying. The scene like the end of the world. The entire Earth's ecosystem is an interdependent whole. A change in one link is like the collapse of dominoes, which will affect the entire ecosystem. Following the rhythm of the drums, the screen flashed continuously. Animals died, birds died, fish died, cities decayed, crops failed, and humans died. Zombies, like ghosts, crawled out of the ground and slowly gathered. Underground and in the sky were filled with various types of zombie animals and birds. They swept across the globe, devouring everything they saw. The entire blue star seemed to fall into dim and bloody hell. The video ended with a music. Chapter 33. Boss Nia called. The video finished playing, but the viewers remained lost in thought for a long time. Boss, is everything in the video true? Ruan Xingho asked. Yes. Reports show that this molecule has already been detected in the current atmospheric composition. Although the damage it can cause is still minimal, we need to consider that the evolutionary speed of microorganisms is thousands or even tens of thousands of times faster than that of humans, and this impact will increase exponentially. Dongfang Chen replied. Is there any way to prevent this from happening? Brother Zhang asked. The death of zombies, the decomposition of microorganisms, the evolution of microorganisms, which of these can we control? Dongfang Chen retorted. Brother Zhang fell silent. Indeed, this cannot be prevented. It seems that the virus is not the end of the world, but only the beginning. Everyone was silent. They knew that the end of humanity was coming, but they were helpless. How much time do we have left? Yan Fangfang asked. 3 years, Dongfang Chen replied. 3 years. Yan Fangfang was somewhat dejected. She had initially risked coming to Binjiang to be closer to the virus. She hoped to find a way to resist the virus through this method. Who knew that after arriving here, she could only hide? There was no way to directly resist the zombies, let alone deal with the virus later. She came to the base. The technology here was very advanced, giving her instant hope. She gained the ability to resist zombies and also the ability to resist viruses. At that moment, she understood that as long as there was enough time, eliminating zombies and viruses was not a problem at all. Because of this, she endured Dongfang Chen's unreasonable behavior and humiliation time and time again. She lowered her proud head for this and threw away the self-esteem she had always maintained. But before she could react, another heavy piece of information weighed on her heart. This news was so despairing, so cruelly extinguishing her hope for the future. This was a dead end, and no one could change it. You said earlier that there was one more thing you wanted me to apologize for before you would tell me. Is this it? Yan Fangfang asked dejectedly. That's right, Dongfang Chen admitted frankly. You clearly know that everyone will die, yet you still want me to apologize? Are you doing this to deliberately humiliate me? Yan Fangfang's eyes welled up. She asked with her head held high, tears swirling in her eyes. Who said everyone will die? Did I say that? Dongfang Chen blinked and asked, feigning ignorance. Brother Dongfang, you just said that we can't stop the end of the world. Luer couldn't bear it any longer and stood up to speak for Yan Fangfang. We can't stop the end of the world, but we can find ways to survive it, Dongfang Chen said to Luer with a smile. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. It seemed the boss had a solution. Yan Fangfang was still crying, but hearing these words, she burst into laughter through her tears. She hurriedly raised her hand and wiped away the tears with her sleeve. I knew it, Brother Dongfang. You have a way, don't you? Luer walked up to Dongfang Chen and said excitedly, there's a way, but it's almost the same as having no way. Dongfang Chen suddenly made a sharp turn. Boss, stop beating around the bush. Tell us quickly, we're all dying of anxiety. Ling Zhenhe walked over and said anxiously, actually, every settlement can build a base like ours. Would that allow them to survive temporarily? Dongfang Chen said this sounded like a solution, but it also felt impractical. Indeed, almost the same as having no solution first. Such a base cannot be built just by saying so. If it were in the past, it would simply involve investing more funds, personnel, and equipment. But now, the conditions do not allow it. Second, underground survival is actually a technical skill. Everyone has been underground for so long and has gained some knowledge. Where do the various supplies in the base come from? Where do the various weapons and equipment come from? Without these prerequisites, they would starve to death underground in 2 days. Third, with more people, thoughts become more complicated. Who will take the lead? Who will provide the resources? If you don't contribute money or resources, why should people listen to you? If you contribute money and resources, you might not get things done and become the target of everyone's criticism. Everyone is starving to death. If you're the only one with food, who else would there rob but you? This matter, with them, cannot be accomplished. Alright, it's getting late, everyone, go back and think about it. When you have time, you can also communicate privately, and we'll discuss it again tomorrow. Dongfang Chen said. The crowd dispersed. Xiaolin, Commander, please give your instructions. Xiaolin replied, you know the task, help me develop a feasible plan. Dongfang Chen said, yes, Commander. Ding-ling-ling. Dongfang Chen was still in his sleep when his phone rang. Dongfang Chen didn't even open his eyes, frowned, and reached for his phone. Originally, he wanted to hang up and continue sleeping. No. Dongfang Chen instantly opened his eyes and quickly grabbed his phone. This phone hadn't rung in a long time. Someone was contacting him. Dongfang Chen picked up the phone and looked. It was an unfamiliar number. Hello, he answered the phone. Mr. Dongfang, I finally gotten in touch with you. It was Niu Xingwang who was calling. Boss Niu? Dongfang Chen asked confirmingly. It's me, Mr. Dongfang, Niu Xingwang said excitedly. Where are you now? Dongfang Chen asked. I'm at the King settlement, Niu Xingwang replied. Oh, that's good. It's relatively safer there, Dongfang Chen replied. Mr. Dongfang, it's not safe here. We were attacked by zombies last night, and many people died, Niu Xingwang said in a low voice. Are you alright? Dongfang Chen asked. I'm fine, but I'm about to be unable to hold on, Niu Xingwang said. Oh? What's wrong? It's a long story. Mr. Dongfang, this phone cost me a lot of money, and I can only use it for 1 minute. I'm calling you to ask you to do me a favor, Niu Xingwang said. Okay. Tell me, Dongfang Chen agreed. I estimate I won't be able to go back. Please take care of my wife as much as possible in the future, Niu Xingwang said sadly. Boss Niu, it's not that bad. Tell me the specific situation in detail, Dongfang Chen replied. Mr. Dongfang, some things are inconvenient to say. Okay. Time's up. Beep beep beep. Before Boss Niu could finish speaking, he heard someone snatch the phone and hang up. Xiaolin. Dongfang Chen got out of bed and quickly ran to the office. Commander, please give your instructions, Xiaolin replied. Locate the phone number we just talked to. Dongfang Chen said. The location has been locked. It's at King Ridge in Surong County. Xiaolin replied. Xiaolin had located it the moment Dongfang Chen started talking. Dongfang Chen quickly notified everyone to prepare equipment. Boss, where are we going? Brother Zhang asked. To King Ridge. Niu Xingwang is probably in trouble, Dongfang Chen replied. Hearing this, Brother Zhang didn't hesitate and quickly issued an order. Everyone, the target is King Ridge. Let's go. He turned back and said to Dongfang Chen in a low voice. Xiao Chen, don't go. It's dangerous outside. We'll go. Let's go together. I also want to see what the settlements are like now, Dongfang Chen said while preparing his equipment. Brother Zhang didn't say anything more, and everyone left the base after 5 months. The cars outside were basically scrapped, and with the roads congested, it wasn't realistic to drive the Hummer from the base out of the city now. They could only bite the bullet and find one. Everyone found several new cars in a 4S store on the outskirts of the city, but after working on them for a long time, they couldn't start them. Come on, let me do it, Dongfang Chen said. He took out a metal tag from his pocket, threw it into the car, and closed the door. A minute later, rumble rumble rumble. The car started. Dongfang Chen took out the metal tag and repeated the process, quickly fixing several cars. Everyone was surprised, but there was no time to ask. Everyone quickly assigned vehicles, got in, broke through the glass of the 4S store, and drove west. Although the roads outside the city were covered with thick leaves, there were few abandoned vehicles on the road, which did not affect the journey. In about an hour, everyone arrived at King Ridge. Chapter 34, Saving Boss Niu. Quick, look! Someone's coming, said the soldier guarding the entrance. Wow, really? It's been a long time since anyone's come here, right? Could they be bringing supplies? Another soldier said in surprise. Let's go take a look, the first soldier replied. The two walked to the middle of the road and stood still, holding out their hands in a gesture to stop. 12 identical SUVs followed one another, gradually coming to a halt. Hello. Please show your identification, the first soldier said. What identification? Dongfang Chen, sitting in the passenger seat of the first car, asked. The two soldiers were stunned, unsure what identification was needed. Where did these people come from? Where did you come from? The first soldier asked. Binjiang City, Dongfang Chen replied. The two quickly grabbed their guns and released the safety catches. Everyone, raise your hands and get out of the car immediately, the first soldier commanded. Brother Zhang, in the driver's seat, glanced at Dongfang Chen, awaiting his instructions. Dongfang Chen shook his head, raising one hand. He reached over with the other and opened the car door. After Dongfang Chen got out of the car, the others followed suit. More than 40 people, all wearing matching camouflage uniforms. Everyone had a ruddy complexion and was full of energy. This was highly suspicious. Report to the captain. Dozens of suspicious people have appeared at the entrance, requesting backup, the second soldier said into the walkie-talkie. Roger, came the reply. Comrade, what's wrong? Is there a problem? Dongfang Chen asked casually. Of course there's a problem. There hasn't been anyone in Binjiang City for months. How could you possibly be coming from the city? The first soldier replied. That's not necessarily true. Look, I know Director Zhu Mayashuang, the doctor at your base. If you call him out, he can verify our identities, Dongfang Chen said. Our captain will be here shortly. Please wait a moment, the first soldier said, ignoring his words. 2 minutes later, dozens of people quickly came from the base, all carrying guns. Captain, it's them. The second soldier went up to him and said. The captain nodded and walked over. Where did you come from? The captain asked. We already said, we came from the city, Dongfang Chen patiently repeated. What are you doing here? The captain continued to ask. Looking for someone, Dongfang Chen replied. Oh? Looking for who? The captain asked, intrigued. Niu Xingwang, the boss of Dongfang Real Estate, Dongfang Chen replied. He knew Niu Xingwang. In fact, most of the infrastructure projects in the King resettlement area were done by Niu Xingwang's company. However, the current Niu Xingwang was not what he used to be, just a small fry. What are you looking for him for? The captain asked mockingly. To collect a debt. Dongfang Chen began to spout nonsense. Old habits die hard. Oh? Here to collect a debt? The captain laughed. In this day and age, someone is still collecting debts? They have nowhere to spend their money. Why would they collect debts? What kind of debt are you here to collect? The captain continued to ask. I say, Captain, is collecting debts against the law? Dongfang Chen didn't want to answer his question so easily. He could also see that he was deliberately making things difficult for him. The captain was stunned, then laughed and said, it's not against the law. But for safety reasons, I can't let you in. Okay. We won't go in. Then please have the captain send someone to call him out. We'll chat outside, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. That won't work either, the captain said. Why is that? Dongfang Chen asked with a teasing smile. There's no why. My brother's mission is to maintain law and order, not to run errands for people, the captain said, picking his teeth. How about this then? Dongfang Chen took out a bag of white sugar from his pocket, weighing it in his hand. The captain's eyes immediately lit up. White sugar is a scarce commodity now. Such a big bag could even get you a wife. The captain walked over, took the white sugar, put it in his pocket, and immediately changed his attitude. Little brother, let me be honest with you. The current boss Niu is not the boss Niu he used to be. I'm afraid you won't be able to collect the debt from him, the captain said in a low voice. Thank you for the reminder, Captain. However, I have my own ways. Dongfang Chen showed a cunning expression. Okay, I'll have someone call him out for you. The captain didn't say much more and readily agreed. Xiao Hu, come here, The captain beckoned and called the first soldier over. "Captain, you called me." Xiaohu ran over and said with a smile, "Go in and bring Boss Niu out," the captain ordered. "Yes," Xiaohu replied, standing at attention, and turned to run back. 20 minutes later, Xiaohu led Boss Niu out from a distance. Boss Niu looked disheveled and like a beggar if it weren't for the suit on his body still vaguely showing his former glory. Dongfang Chen would have had a hard time recognizing him. Boss Niu walked closer and saw that the person standing next to the captain was actually Dongfang Chen, and his steps immediately stopped. The captain saw Niu Xingwang standing there without moving, thinking that he was frightened by seeing his creditor, so he shouted loudly, "Boss Niu, your old friend has come to see you, come over quickly." Niu Xingwang came back to his senses and ran over in small steps, his eyes filled with tears. "Mr. Dongfang." Niu Xingwang was just about to speak when Dongfang Chen interrupted him. "Boss Niu, why are you dressed like this? Let me tell you, don't cry poor in front of me. It is a matter of course to pay back debts," Dongfang Chen said loudly. Boss Niu was dumbfounded. "What's going on?" The captain couldn't help laughing when he heard Dongfang Chen say this. "Boss Niu looks like he is crying poor. I'll just ask you, can you pay back the money today?" Dongfang Chen asked. Niu Xingwang didn't know what to say. All right. I won't listen to your explanation either. It's useless to ask for money now, just leave your life here today," Dongfang Chen said as he stepped forward and grabbed Niu Xingwang by the collar, preparing to take him to the car. Hey, little brother, take it easy. This won't work, someone will die." The captain quickly stopped him. Captain. What kind of world is it now? What does it matter if 1 or 2 people die? But, Captain, don't worry, I definitely won't cause you any trouble. I'll take the person away and find a place to deal with him later, Dongfang Chen replied with a smile. The captain was stunned. This, should I agree? Dongfang Chen's words confused the captain. They had already received news that the resettlement area was about to move north. They won't be staying in this place for many days. In this situation, it shouldn't matter if a few people are lost. Right, but something doesn't feel right. While the captain was stunned, Dongfang Chen and the others had all gotten into the car. Rolling down the car window, Dongfang Chen shouted, "Captain, there's one more thing I want to tell you." The captain walked to the car. "What's the matter?" Dongfang Chen took out another large bag of candy from the car, secretly stuffed it into the captain's hands, and said with a smile, "It's nothing, just a little something for the brothers." The captain beamed with joy. "This little brother is so generous." The convoy turned around and drove away. The captain put away the candy and stood there watching Dongfang Chen and his group leave. "Captain, they've gone far," Xiaohu ran over and said softly. The captain turned around and glanced at him, saying in an annoyed tone, "You talk too much." Captain. "I have a question," Xiaohu asked. "Oh? Tell me, Captain, you said that there is no one in the city, how did they survive?" Xiaohu asked. "Damn. We've been tricked." The captain suddenly realized and slapped his thigh, but the car has already gone far away. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Firefly Project. The roads in the city center were impassable, so everyone returned to the suburbs and found a parking lot. After parking the cars, it was already afternoon when the group returned to the base on foot. "Kike," Niu Xingwang shouted, choking with emotion. Niu Xingwang's wife was called Liu Kiken, and at this time she was in the kitchen with several other women, busily preparing food. Hearing this familiar voice, Liu Kiken's hand froze, and she hurriedly looked towards the source of the sound. What came into view was a dirty, ragged, disheveled middle-aged man. Half a minute later, Liu Kiken finally recognized that this was her husband, whom she had been thinking about day and night. She put down the spoon and slowly, step by step, walked up to Niu Xingwang. Seeing his current appearance, she couldn't help but burst into tears. "Kiken, I'm back," Niu Xingwang said excitedly, with tears in his eyes. Liu Kiken finally confirmed that this was real. Unable to control herself, she began to sob. Niu Xingwang hurriedly stepped forward, patted his wife on the back, and comforted her. All right, I'm back now, what are you crying for?" Dongfang Chen and brother Zhang, who were standing aside watching, joked, "Ha. Big sister, the brothers haven't eaten anything all day. If you keep crying, we'll starve to death." The big sister smiled through her tears, and didn't say anything. She glanced sideways at old Niu, and quickly turned her head to Cook. Brother Niu, don't just stand here. Hurry up and take a shower, change your clothes. You stink so bad, I was almost suffocated by you all the way, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Niu Xingguang nodded, wiped away his tears with his sleeve, and hurriedly walked out of the kitchen. The food was quickly prepared, and Boss Niu had also taken a shower and changed his clothes to welcome Boss Niu home. Today's meal was very sumptuous, with a large pot of stewed cabbage with pork and vermicelli, a plate of sauce beef, a plate of sausage, a plate of peanuts, bowls of glistening rice, and even a few bottles of 30-year-old Fen liquor were opened as an exception. Everyone sat down at several tables, but no one touched their chopsticks. Niu Xingguang looked at the table full of dishes, feeling very emotional. This kind of food. Half a year ago, he wouldn't have even looked at it. It just wasn't worthy of a formal occasion, but now it was different. For the past 6 months since the virus outbreak, he had basically stayed on the construction site. Later, Binjiang City was under martial law, and he was transferred to various counties to build temporary resettlement centers. Supplies slowly became more and more scarce, and the workers had no idea where their next meal was coming from, and they had no heart to work. No one wanted wages anymore, they all wanted food. Where would Niu Xingguang get food for them? He used the machinery, equipment, and vehicles in his hands to exchange for supplies. Later, the construction site also stopped work, and the resources in Niu Xingguang's hands were basically plundered by people from various departments. In the end, he couldn't even get a full meal. Perhaps everyone has a natural hatred for capitalists. After he was left with no way out, everyone couldn't wait to step on him and bite him. Niu Xingguang's situation was even more dire today. He dug out 2 car batteries that had been hidden for a long time from the waste materials of the construction site, and barely managed to exchange them for 1 minute of phone time from a middleman. This kind of phone was a satellite phone. The base stations were all scrapped, and ordinary mobile phones had no signal. Long ago he originally only planned to call Dongfang Chen to entrust him with his affairs, and he didn't have any hope of leaving King Resettlement Center. He didn't think that Dongfang Chen had the ability to bring him out of King Ridge. As long as Dongfang Chen could remember a little bit of their past relationship and treat his wife kindly, he would already be grateful. What kind of world is this now? A world where people eat people. Sentimentality is worthless. Long ago, but he didn't expect that Dongfang Chen would actually come to save him. Only when people are truly in despair do they know who is real and who is fake. Brother Niu, our conditions are limited now. We don't have anything good. Just make do with it, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Sitting next to him, Niu Xingguang wiped his tears and said gratefully, Mr. Dongfang, what are you saying? In this world now, even if I sell all my possessions, I can't exchange for this table of dishes. Hey, look at what you're saying, this is only worth a few bucks. Alright, let's not be so polite. Brothers, raise your glasses, let's welcome Boss Niu home. Dongfang Chen stood up and raised his glass. The crowd swish, swish, swish stood up one after another, raised their glasses towards Niu Xingguang, and shouted in unison, welcome Boss Niu home. Niu Xingguang also stood up, raised his glass, and repeatedly said thank you, big sister, today is a good day, you should have a glass too. Dongfang Chen said to Liu Qiqin on the other side of Niu Xingguang. Liu Qiqin wiped away her tears, nodded, and also raised the glass in her hand. Come on, bottoms up, Dongfang Chen said loudly to everyone. Everyone drank it all in one gulp and sat down. This meal lasted until the evening for several months. The members of the guard team had been prohibited from drinking, so they all drank a little too much today. After the meal, everyone was allowed to go back to rest. Boss Niu and his wife had been separated for a long time, so they must have a lot to say, and Dongfang Chen didn't bother them anymore. The next day came in the blink of an eye. Dongfang Chen woke up early and came to the office. Xiaolin, is the plan ready? Dongfang Chen asked. Commander, it has been sent to your computer panel, please check it. Xiaolin replied. Dongfang Chen nodded and turned on the computer. 2 hours later, Xiaolin, is the plan so complicated? Dongfang Chen frowned. Commander, this is the method with the highest success rate, Xiaolin replied. Alright. Dongfang Chen didn't say anything more. After thinking for a long time, Dongfang Chen continued, Xiaolin, break the plan down into a task progress chart and track it at any time. Okay, Commander. Dongfang Chen repeatedly thought about the plan, thinking about the difficult journey ahead. He sighed for half an hour. Huff. After thinking for a long time, Dongfang Chen took a deep breath and walked out of the office. underground base training area except for the wounded and some people who were told in advance not to come. Everyone else had gathered. Comrades, the night before yesterday, everyone watched the video and understood how terrible the crisis we are about to face is. This is an unprecedented ecological crisis. In this crisis, no one is an observer. And no one is qualified to be an observer. I won't hide it from you, I already have a very complete and feasible plan. However, this plan requires everyone to complete it with me, Dongfang Chen said. Boss, just tell us. We will execute it unconditionally, several veterans said firmly. Yes, boss. We will listen to you, Zhang Yuanqi said. Okay. I named this plan, Firefly Plan. It means that even if we only have the light of a firefly, we must compete with the sun and the moon. Dongfang Chen continued, and after saying this, he loudly ordered, everyone, attention. Upon hearing the order, everyone stood at attention, their voices uniform. First task, from today onwards, the guard team is disbanded. As soon as they heard this sentence, everyone was stunned. What? Disband? Why? Everyone became uneasy, looking at each other. What? Didn't you just say that you would listen to me? Are you not listening now? Dongfang Chen deliberately paused here, just to instill this contrast in everyone's minds. It was implying to everyone, you may not understand, but you have to learn to resolutely execute orders even when you don't understand. Everyone stopped talking. After the guard team is disbanded, the original members of the guard team will be reorganized to form a new task sequence. From now on, you will have a brand new identity, lurkers. As lurkers, you will leave the base and go to all parts of the country. Even if you are willing, you can go to all parts of the world. Your main tasks are three. First, you are free to join any organization. Remember what I said, any organization. Whether legal or illegal is fine. After joining, go into hiding. Second, you need to send talents to the base from time to time. Anyone you trust can be secretly sent to the base. Here, they will receive antigens for free and receive training for free. After passing the training, they will become new lurkers. Third, also your most important task, is to obtain intelligence. As an identity marker, each of you will receive a black metal tag before leaving. As he said that, Dongfang Chen took out a tag from his pocket and held it up high. The shape of the tag was very similar to the tag that Dongfang Chen threw into the car yesterday to start the car, but the color was different. Chapter 36 Establishment of the Chamber of Commerce. This tag is very important and can save your lives when necessary. I will give you a detailed introduction later. Dongfang Chen put away the tag. There is also some other equipment, but I won't introduce them one by one. We will have a special training session before departure. Now it's question time. Ask whatever questions you have. Boss, do I have to join too? Yan Fangfang asked. What? You don't want to? Dongfang Chen asked sternly. No. It's just my identity. Yan Fangfang didn't finish, implying that he should understand. It doesn't matter. After you leave, just continue doing what you were doing. Just complete the sleeper's mission diligently, Dongfang Chen said indifferently. Then my subordinates, Yan Fangfang continued to ask. Dongfang Chen had made arrangements in advance today, and Yan Fangfang's subordinates did not come. They should leave with you. However, for your personal safety, they shouldn't join the sleepers. Yan Fangfang hesitated for a moment, then nodded in agreement. Strictly speaking, her subordinates weren't really her people, and Dongfang Chen could see that those people were also soldiers, probably sent to protect Yan Fangfang. Boss, what about our families? Tong Li asked. My suggestion is that the families should stay in the base. It's too dangerous outside, and you would have to spend time taking care of them. Of course, this is not mandatory. If anyone wants to leave with their families, they can. Dongfang Chen didn't make it a hard rule to forbid them from taking their families. Saying that would be like threatening them, holding their families hostage. Everyone nodded, indicating their agreement. Brother Dongfang, do we have to leave? Luer asked, frowning. We have to leave? But Luer, you can stay with your brother. We have no choice in some things, Dongfang Chen said comfortingly. Luer nodded in disappointment. She wasn't afraid of danger, she just didn't want to leave the base. To leave everyone, comrades, in this apocalyptic world, we have no choice but to step up and take responsibility. Yes, everyone stood at attention, shouted in unison, and then saluted. After the meeting, Dongfang Chen returned to his office. Niu Xingwang was standing at the office door waiting for him. Brother Niu, why don't you rest more? Dongfang Chen greeted him. Mr. Dongfang, I'm getting old and need less sleep, Niu Xingwang said awkwardly as Dongfang Chen spoke. He invited Niu Xingwang into the office. Brother Niu, you don't have to be so polite. Just be casual with me. Dongfang Chen gestured for Niu Xingwang to sit down as well. Mr. Dongfang, I have to admire you. You are truly a divine being. If I had known this day would come, I wouldn't have done any business, and I would have sold everything to build the base for you quickly, Niu Xingwang said admiringly. He had been on the construction site for the past few months and felt this deeply. Compared to Dongfang Chen's design, theirs was just child's play. How could defensive works built on the ground be better than those built underground? Not to mention, the constant harassment and attacks by zombies were a headache every day. People were infected and then expelled from the settlement. Treatment? Forget about it, no one could cure them. It was a waste of time and resources. However, when he left, the base was still a shell, with nothing inside. But now, water, electricity, and ventilation systems were all complete. They could even grow grain and vegetables. It would be fine even if they never went out for the rest of their lives. Awesome, admirable. Choosing to rely on Dongfang Chen was the wisest decision he had ever made. After listening to Niu Xingwang, Dongfang Chen laughed and said, "Come on, Boss Niu. I don't know who it was, but when I said I was going to build an underground fortress, he was so scared he almost peed his pants." Niu Xingwang's old face turned red, and he said, ashamed, Brother Niu, I want to talk to you about something serious today, Dongfang Chen said, leaning closer. Seeing Dongfang Chen become serious, Niu Xingwang quickly responded, Mr. Dongfang, please speak. It's like this, I plan to establish a chamber of commerce. I don't know if you are interested, Dongfang Chen said. Chamber of commerce? What for? Niu Xingwang asked. Just buying and selling supplies and stuff, Dongfang Chen replied. Oh. Mr. Dongfang, can you be more specific? Niu Xingwang asked, not quite understanding. Wait a moment, Dongfang Chen said, walking out of the office. After a while, Dongfang Chen returned, carrying a briefcase. Brother Niu, I have a gift for you, Dongfang Chen said with a smile, opening the case and taking out a vial of medicine. This is, Niu Xingwang asked. Antigen serum, Dongfang Chen said. What? Niu Xingwang stood up suddenly. Look at you, so easily startled. You scared me, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Mr. Dongfang. This, could it be the vaccine that resists the virus? Niu Xingwang said incoherently. The families in the base hadn't been injected with the antigen yet, and his wife hadn't mentioned it to Niu Xingwang, so he still didn't know about the antigen serum in the base. That's right, Dongfang Chen replied calmly. Oh my god. This, Niu Xingwang didn't know what to say. As a businessman, he understood the business opportunities and value contained within better than others. At the same time, he also understood the risks and crises contained within. Come, hold out your arm, Dongfang Chen said, opening the vial. Niu Xingwang was completely stunned, and unconsciously held out his arm after the injection. Niu Xingwang sat there for more than 10 minutes, still with his arm exposed. Dongfang Chen waved his hand in front of him to call his soul back. I'm sorry, Mr. Dongfang, I was distracted, Niu Xingwang said embarrassedly. Brother Niu, if I entrust this business to you, would you be interested? Dongfang Chen asked. This, Niu Xingwang didn't know where to start. Brother Niu, if you have any difficulties, just say them, and we can study them together, Dongfang Chen said, cutting to the chase. Oh. Mr. Dongfang. I'm just afraid I don't have the ability to protect the safety of the vaccine, Niu Xingwang said. It's antigen, Dongfang Chen corrected. Oh, right, antigen. This antigen can save lives. Even if there is just a slight rumor, I'm afraid countless people will risk their lives to snatch it, Niu Xingwang said. That's why I said that this matter must be done by you. You understand the key points as soon as you hear them. To be honest, there are others in the base who want to do this business, and they have a lot of influence. I haven't formally expressed my position yet because I was waiting for you to come back. You don't have to worry about security issues, I will arrange everything properly. You just need to tell me if you are interested in doing this, Dongfang Chen said. Since Mr. Dongfang has said so, then where is there any reason for me, Niu Xingwang, to refuse? Mr. Dongfang, tell me, how do we do it? Niu Xingwang rolled up his sleeves, striking a pose ready to do a great job. That's right. This is the boss Niu I know. Dongfang Chen patted Niu Xingwang on the shoulder, stood up, and continued. Brother Niu, You will be in charge of allocating 60% of the vaccines produced by the base. I will use the remaining 40% for other purposes. You will take the lead in establishing a chamber of commerce, ostensibly doing some buying and selling of supplies, and slowly setting up an office in other settlements. The production of vaccines is limited, so large-scale sales are not realistic. However, using them to grease some palms and accumulate some resources and connections is not a problem. You are an expert in this area, so I won't show off my limited skills, Dongfang Chen explained roughly. Of course, there is no problem with that. But what is your purpose in doing this? Niu Xingwang couldn't figure it out. As expected, it's easy to chat with smart people. Come, brother Niu, let me show you something. Dongfang Chen led Niu Xingwang to the big screen. The screen began to play the cartoon from the previous 2 days. Is this real? After watching the cartoon, Niu Xingwang was also frightened. Now you understand why I want to do this, right? Dongfang Chen asked. I understand everything. What painstaking efforts. Niu Xingwang shook his head in admiration. Chapter 37, The Whole Show. Niu Xingwang was increasingly grateful for his choice, otherwise, how would he have the chance to survive in this fragmented world? Dongfang Chen took him in and gave him the resources and courage to take charge in this special era. He secretly vowed to do his best to repay such kindness. The Chamber of Commerce is one part of it. In addition, all members of our guard team will be sent out to form a new task sequence, lurkers. They are in the dark, you are in the light. When necessary, you can cooperate with each other, Dongfang Chen said. Niu Xingwang nodded, thought for a while, and asked, but if we do this, our base will inevitably be exposed to the world. Isn't it too dangerous? Yes, so I decided to do the opposite. How to do the opposite? Destroy the base. Dongfang Chen replied. What? Niu Xingwang was shocked again as expected. Following Dongfang Chen meant being prepared for a heart attack. Don't be surprised. It's just destroying the above ground part and the entrance. Don't worry, everything will be arranged properly before the plan is executed. There will be no problems. After Niu Xingwang left, Dongfang Chen called Yan Fangfang in again. Boss, you're looking for me, Yan Fangfang said. Yes, sit down. The two sat down in front of the sofa. Do you have any psychological burden about joining the lurkers? Dongfang Chen asked. I've thought about it carefully. I have to join the lurkers, Yan Fangfang answered. Oh? Tell me about it. First, I can't help anyone by myself. Facing the virus, I can't do anything myself. Second, after learning that an even greater ecological crisis will occur, I hope that people can unite and deal with the crisis together. However, not to mention me, even if my dad comes forward, I'm afraid it's impossible to do this. So, we must find other methods. Third, I think you can do it. I feel that if anyone in this world can defeat the virus, it can only be you. Following you can save more people. Hearing this, Dongfang Chen understood that Yan Fangfang was just a simple holy mother. There's nothing wrong with being a holy mother, but being naive plus a holy mother is a dead end without the ability to protect oneself. Unbridled kindness will lead to eternal doom. Hopefully, she can mature after experiencing hardships. It's good that you understand. I'm here to ask you to do something today, Dongfang Chen said. What is it? Help me pass a message to your dad, saying that you've been kidnapped. Yan Fangfang was very puzzled. That's right. Think about it, if you tell your dad on the phone that you've discovered the antigen, what will happen? Oh, I guess he won't believe it, Yan Fangfang replied. That's right, not only will he not believe it, but he may also think you've been cheated. Since that's the case, it's better to be straightforward and tell your dad directly that you've been kidnapped. But what's the purpose of you doing this? Yan Fangfang asked. Meet your dad and talk to him face to face. Dongfang Chen said his purpose. Yan Fangfang considered it for a moment and replied, Okay, let's practice now. Half an hour later, Xiaolin had removed the shielding of Yan Fangfang's satellite phone. Yan Fangfang still picked up the phone a little unnaturally and dialed the number. The call connected. Hello. A deep voice came from the other side. Dad, I've been kidnapped. Please come and save me, Yan Fangfang said, pretending to be scared, but it still sounded very fake. Okay. I'm very busy. Say what you have to say quickly. Yan Zhangping directly saw through her disguise. Dongfang Chen snatched the phone and said, Commander Yan Zhangping, right, who are you? Regardless of whether it was true or false, he couldn't tolerate anyone daring to call him by his name. You don't need to know who I am. Your innocent and lovely daughter is in my hands, and I want to make a deal with you, Dongfang Chen said calmly. In Yan Zhangping's impression, Ordinary people wouldn't dare to say the words innocent and lovely in front of Yan Fangfang. She would definitely get angry. Now that someone said it, and his daughter didn't get angry, it was clear that things were not simple. What do you want? Yan Zhangping asked. Simple, 500 guns, 100,000 bullets, in exchange for a life. What do you think? Is this a good deal? Guns. Dongfang Chen didn't need them. But asking for benefits made the play sound real. Impossible, Yan Zhangping replied. Then there's nothing to talk about, that's it. You don't need to make this call again in the future. Wait, Yan Zhangping said. Oh? What instructions does Commander Yan have? Where's the transaction? Yan Zhangping asked. He understood that the world had changed, and having guns meant having life. The country's ban on guns was no longer meaningful. So there were many desperados who wanted to take risks, which was not impossible. Write it down. Binjiang Park, Zicheng District, Binjiang City, Lake Mountain Province. Call this number when you arrive. But be careful, I'll give you a maximum of 3 days, you must come in person, or else. After speaking, Dongfang Chen hung up the phone. The satellite phone signal was not shielded, so it would be easier for Yan Zhangping to find their location. Only if he could find the location would Yan Zhangping bring people to kill them. Only by bringing people to kill them could they make a commotion, and Dongfang Chen's purpose was to make this commotion. Only with a commotion would people believe that the base was destroyed. The play had to be done completely. Next were many details to be finalized. Dongfang Chen had the Queen Bee set up a workshop to rush out the equipment needed when the guard team members left. To speed up the process, many non-essential tasks were stopped. Most of the mechanical bee ants were put into this work. The first item to be rushed out was the dog tag. Currently, there were a total of 43 guard team members in the lurker task sequence, so the front of the dog tags were stamped with the numbers 1-43 respectively, and all the dog tags had the same content engraved on the back, 8 characters. May people not know, may the years be peaceful. This dog tag was not an ornament. In fact, it contained 100,000 dormant nanomachines. After activation, it can achieve biological attacks. For example, Dongfang Chen used the nanomachines on the dog tag to repair the vehicle. They can easily enter the vehicle, and if they find damaged parts, they can find materials from other places like ants to repair them. Also, when the zombies first besieged the base, Xiaolin ordered the Queen Bee to send out countless such nanomachines to quickly decompose the zombies. You can imagine the scene of thousands of ants attacking an elephant. In an instant, an elephant would be decomposed into a skeleton. And nanomachines can decompose even the bones. The second item that was rushed out was an electronic lighter similar to Zipper in addition to being used as a lighter. The most important function was the satellite locator. It can achieve 2 functions, positioning and eavesdropping. Due to the failure of most satellites, the ground internet was interrupted. The information that Xiaolin could obtain was getting less and less. Through this lighter, Xiaolin's tentacles could be effectively extended. Wherever people go, the tentacles can extend. The third item that was rushed out took a long time and was also a very important item, a special simulation mechanical dog. The special simulation mechanical dog had several important functions. First, the mechanical dog can decompose crystal nuclei and charge other items. Laser guns, dog tags, lighters, and the mechanical dog itself all need energy, and the energy is obtained by the mechanical dog decomposing the crystal nuclei. Second, reconnaissance. The simulation of the mechanical dog is almost the same as a real dog. They move quickly and silently. With the help of the mechanical dog, the lurkers can obtain information more easily. Third, combat. In addition to biting, the mechanical dog is also equipped with 4 hidden laser emitters. Each emitter can rotate 360 degrees after activation and automatically lock on to the attack target. It can be said to be the best weapon for killing in arson. Chapter 38 Mobilization Meeting. On the third day, almost all the equipment was ready. At dusk, all the lurker members gathered in the training area to attend the pre-departure mobilization meeting. Everyone felt particularly heavy-hearted at the thought of parting soon. The mobilization meeting officially began. The first thing was to announce the code names to ensure safety. Everyone would no longer use their real names after leaving the base. Dongfang Chen had drawn up a list, combining the characteristics of each person, and gave everyone a code name. The list is as follows. Number 1, Zhang Yuanke, codename Heavenly Killer. Number 2, Shen Wangang, codename Xiangang. Number 3, Ling He, codename Sea King. Number 4, Ruan Xinghua, codename Smiling Tiger. Number 5, Tuang Li, codename Vajra. Number 6, Tankun, codename Mantis. Number 7, Choose Hangping, codename Skylark. Number 8, Ji Hongfei, codename, Gigu, number 26, Yan Fang Fang, codename, Fang Ho number 27, Shen Mai Aluo, codename, Kyanluo. The detailed list will be placed in the discussion area for everyone to view. The second thing was to announce the gestures and secret words to facilitate everyone's identification when walking outside. Gesture: make a fist with your right hand, palm facing inward, and knock on your chest. Secret words: first half, how can we say we have no clothes? We share your robes. Second half, may people not know, and the years be peaceful. The meeting had progressed to this point, and we had to take a break. Everyone couldn't control their emotions and shed tears of sadness. May people not know, and the years be peaceful. Originally, it was just an ordinary sentence, but now it has become the most extravagant journey. I really hope that the world doesn't understand how precious peaceful days are. The more they don't understand, the more it can show that everyone is living in happiness. No one wants to leave their family and go out to wander, but as Dongfang Chen said, the crisis is coming, no one is an onlooker, and no one is qualified to be an onlooker. In the face of the apocalypse, we have no choice but to step forward. The third thing was to distribute identity tags. Everyone received their own identity tag according to their number. Dongfang Chen briefly explained how to use the tags. After the explanation, everyone practiced on their own. Soon everyone mastered how to use them. The fourth thing was to distribute special mechanical dogs. The mechanical dogs had many functions, so everyone took a relatively long time to familiarize themselves with them. The fifth thing was to distribute communicators, the base's latest research and development of digital eye pupils and second-generation bone microphones. Second-generation bone microphone, it expands the original walkie-talkie function. To facilitate everyone's free communication, it supports the free creation of channels, supports satellite calls, and supports self-adjustment of volume. However, these functions require the cooperation of another piece of equipment, the digital eye pupil. Digital eye pupil, the shape is the same as contact lenses. After wearing it, it can project a network operation panel supported by the computing power of the supercomputing center in front of the eyes, which only the wearer can see. The main functions are 1. Night vision. 2. Location scanning. 3. Augmented reality. 4. Configuration menu. Through the configuration menu, you can pair and connect with a bone microphone. After connecting, you can perform a series of configurations. At this point, the equipment training was basically over. After the equipment training, Dongfang Chen called Niu Xingwang over to meet everyone. After all, Niu Xingwang had just returned to the base, and everyone except Brother Zhang was unfamiliar with him. Everyone would inevitably deal with Niu Xingwang in the future. So, it was necessary to meet each other and understand each other. There is one more thing. The vaccines have been injected for almost a week. It is possible that in the next 3 to 5 days to half a month, everyone will experience some physical changes one after another. If there's anything you don't understand, you can contact me through the bone microphone, okay? The meeting will end here. Everyone needs to go back and explain things as soon as possible. At 1836, the moment the sun rises, everyone will set off on time. Finally, let me add that if everyone discovers any abnormal situations in the base after leaving, don't pay attention to them. Everything is within the plan. Everyone, attention! Brother Zhang shouted the command, and everyone stood at attention. Salute! Dongfang Chen also stood at attention and returned the salute. They looked at each other like this for about 30 seconds. Salute complete. Dismiss. December 9th, 2054 AD, morning at dawn. The first ray of sunlight greeted the horizon. Many people came out of the base's exit one after another. Each person was followed by a dog. They gathered together in 2s and 3s, saying goodbye to each other. Some people shook hands, some people hugged, some people stretched out their right hands, made a fist, and pressed it against their chest. This action seemed to be contagious, and everyone who saw it stretched out their right hands, made a fist, and pressed it against their chest. One after another they looked at each other, silently. 1 minute later, everyone put on their hats, turned around with tears in their eyes, and strode away in all directions. 3 hours later, 5 military helicopters landed on an open space in Binjiang Park. Batches of soldiers armed with live ammunition jumped out of the helicopters. They quickly ran to the helicopter in the middle on both sides of the door. Assemble, line up. Each one was heroic and extraordinary. Immediately afterwards, the cabin door opened, and several soldiers guarded a 50-year-old officer as he walked off the plane. Everyone saluted. The middle-aged officer walked straight past the soldier queue and stood at the front. This scene showed that he was a big shot. The person who came was Yan Zhangping. Through telephone communication, Yan Zhangping brought people to the outside of the underground base. Looking from the outside, the 10-meter high concrete wall proved that the owner here had extraordinary strength. Yan Zhangping frowned, thinking about something. Soon, the gate of the wall opened. Dongfang Chen walked out of the base accompanied by brother Zhang and Ling Zhenhe in order to complete the final scene today. Zhang Yuanke, Ling Zhenhe, Yan Fangfang, and her 6 subordinates did not leave in the morning. Yan Zhangping didn't take it to heart when he saw that the person who came was so young. Are you the person in charge here? Yan Zhangping spoke first. The aura on his body gave people a sense of oppression that was both dignified and intimidating. That's right. Did you bring the things? Dongfang Chen was not intimidated. Release the people first. Yan Zhangping ordered. That's impossible. If I release the people first, what if you don't give me the things? Dongfang Chen refused decisively. Then what do you want to do? Yan Zhangping asked sternly. You've come from so far away, why not come in and have a cup of tea? Forget about drinking tea, I'm very busy. Yan Zhangping didn't consider it at all. You think you're worthy of drinking tea with me, is that so? Then I'm sorry, please go back. Don't delay your work, Dongfang Chen said playfully. Just kidding, you've already run to my doorstep, and you still want to control me, bold. Are you tired of living? A soldier next to him stepped out and scolded. Yan Zhangping reached out to stop him and said calmly, bring the person out, and we'll trade here, is that so? That's fine too. But I'll state in advance that if people see scenes they shouldn't see, it has nothing to do with me. Dongfang Chen pretended to think and spread his hands. Yan Zhangping's face was livid, and he said fiercely, very well. Lead the way, please. Dongfang Chen made a gesture of invitation. Commander. Everyone stopped him one after another. Yan Zhangping raised his hand to signal them not to say anything and ordered, 2 people follow me in, the rest wait here. If I haven't come out in an hour, bomb this place flat. After speaking, he stepped inside. If you just look at the environment, it's actually not that great here. After all, it's not decorated. The biggest problem is that there's electricity here. This is not comparable to the military. The outside electricity is basically paralyzed. The fact that there is electricity here can indeed reflect the strength of the base's owner. Dongfang Chen took Yan Zhangping directly to the office on the 2nd floor underground. Because the members of the guard team had left, there was no one along the way, and it was empty everywhere. Dad, entering the office, Yan Fangfang hurried to greet him. The remaining 6 subordinates, 3 standing and 3 sitting in wheelchairs, raised their hands and gave a military salute. Fangfang, are you alright? Yan Zhangping looked her up and down. Dad, I'm fine, Yan Fangfang replied. You weren't kidnapped? Yan Zhangping asked when he saw that his daughter could move freely and had no injuries. No, Yan Fangfang replied awkwardly. Nonsense. Yan Zhangping flicked his hand and said angrily, Commander Yan, don't be offended. I asked her to do this, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. You? Yan Zhangping squinted at him, not believing it at all. Just a young kid. You think you can command my daughter, can you, Dad? Okay, you're here now, let's not talk about this. We asked you to come because we have important things to discuss. Yan Fangfang smoothed things over, dragging her dad towards the sofa. HMPH, Yan Zhangping was still angry, but he didn't refuse when his daughter dragged him. Chapter 39. Yan Zhangping's misunderstanding. Dad, let me formally introduce you. This is Dongfang Chen. This base belongs to him, Yan Fangfang said, pointing at Dongfang Chen. I'm not interested in knowing who he is. Just tell me, why did you trick me into coming here? Yan Zhangping asked bluntly, not giving any face. Dad, let him explain this matter, Yan Fangfang said, looking at Dongfang Chen. Commander Yan, it's meaningless for us to discuss anything with unequal information. So, please allow me to play a video first, Dongfang Chen said without waiting for Yan Zhangping's reply and directly played the video. Yan Zhangping watched the video, initially unconcerned, but the more he watched, the deeper his frown became. The video finished, but Yan Zhangping remained silent. Dongfang Chen wasn't in a hurry and waited for him to digest the information. After a long while, how can you prove that what's said in this video is true? Yan Zhangping raised his question. I can't prove it, Dongfang Chen replied, shrugging his hands. HMPH, Yan Zhangping felt like he was being played and snorted coldly in anger. However, I believe Commander Yan still remembers that a few months ago, when the virus had just broken out, many departments of your government received a complete set of virus data. Dongfang Chen prompted. That's right, Yan Zhangping admitted. That data was sent out by me, Dongfang Chen said. It was you. Yan Zhangping stood up in surprise. They had investigated for a long time at that time but couldn't find the source of the information. He didn't expect it to be here. That's right, it was me. Dongfang Chen affirmed again if that was the case, then this matter was complicated. The young man in front of him, who looked overly young, was definitely not simple. The fact had already proven that the virus data leaked a few months ago was correct. Then the video he just watched was likely also true. Who exactly was this person? What kind of power was hidden behind him? How did he or they obtain this information? Yan Zhangping couldn't understand. These things had exceeded his control. If such a force really existed, then the current situation would be more complex and severe than he understood. The feeling of being out of control was unpleasant, especially for people like them who held high positions and great power. Can we talk now? Dongfang Chen asked, seeing that Yan Zhangping wasn't speaking. What do you want to talk about? Yan Zhangping asked. Dongfang Chen opened the safe on the table, took out a vial of antigen serum, and said, "Let's talk about this first." "What is this?" Yan Zhangping asked. "Dad, this is antigen serum," Yan Fangfang directly answered for Dongfang Chen. Bold. Yan Zhangping instantly exploded upon hearing this. Standing up and glaring at Dongfang Chen in angry reprimand, "Dad, what are you doing?" Yan Fangfang was startled and said reproachfully, "You guys are really audacious, daring to do such a thing. You go back to me right now, and you're not allowed to go anywhere else." After saying that, Yan Zhangping pulled Yan Fangfang to leave. "Dad, what are you doing?" Yan Fangfang shook off Yan Zhangping's hand and questioned loudly, "What am I doing? You're still asking me what I'm doing? Do you even know what you're doing? The situation is so difficult, and you still dare to do such dirty deeds. Have you wasted all your decades of studying?" Yan Zhangping angrily questioned his daughter. "Dad, you're thinking too much. This is really an antigen, not a fake." Yan Fangfang finally understood. Her dad thought they were making fake medicine. "Do you even believe that yourself? How many scientists in our whole country are fighting day and night, and they still haven't found a single clue? Just you few amateurs, holed up in this place that never sees the light of day. What can you possibly produce?" Yan Zhangping didn't believe it at all. "I've already been injected with the antigen, and they three have also been injected. You can check if you don't believe me." Yan Fangfang was speechless at this self-righteous old fogey. Yan Zhangping was stunned. He didn't know what to say. That's right. Once they were injected, it would be clear after a check. The results of the inspection definitely couldn't be faked. "You've really been injected?" Yan Zhangping asked again to confirm. "If you don't believe me, ask them," Yan Fangfang said, pointing to the three people sitting in wheelchairs. Yan Zhangping looked over the three people sitting in wheelchairs, nodded foolishly. "Even so, we still have to go back and do an examination before drawing a conclusion." "I only look at the examination results," Yan Zhangping replied. "Okay, since that's the case, then you can take them back for an examination first. I'll wait here for the results." Yan Fangfang walked to the sofa and sat down with a thud. The meaning was to tell her dad that she wasn't leaving. Yan Zhangping was really about to be angered to death. He was out of ideas when it came to this daughter. What kind of situation was it if the daughter didn't leave? But the old man left first. "You guys go out and arrange a helicopter to take these three people back to the military region to do an antigen test. By the way, tell the people outside to stay put and wait for orders." Yan Zhangping instructed the other three people beside Yan Fangfang. The three obeyed the order, pushed the three wheelchairs, and left the base. "Commander Yan, since you want to wait for the test results, why don't we talk about something else first?" Dongfang Chen said after the six people left. "What do you want to talk about?" Yan Zhangping asked after learning that the virus information from a few months ago was released by Dongfang Chen. Yan Zhangping no longer disdained him as he had when he first arrived. A prerequisite for communication had begun to exist between the two people. "Let's talk about this first." Dongfang Chen took out a Guardian 1 type combat suit. "What is this again?" "Combat suit," Dongfang Chen replied. "Combat suit? What are the effects? Tell me about it," Yan Zhangping said nonchalantly, and sat back on the sofa. Dongfang Chen simply explained the effects of the combat suit. The more Yan Zhangping listened, the brighter his eyes became. This was a good thing they had bulletproof vests in their army, but they were all very thick. They also couldn't provide full body protection, only protecting vital parts. Bulletproof and puncture-proof were okay, but fireproof was not. The key was that their bulletproof vests were completely useless against zombies. A scratch anywhere on the arms, hands, face, or legs, and the soldier basically declared death. They didn't know how many soldiers had sacrificed themselves in battles with zombies during this period. Yan Zhangping had developed a heart condition because of this. He didn't expect such a pleasant surprise today. Without hesitation, he had the orderly go out and call in a few people. The soldiers all put on combat suits and conducted one-on-one close combat drills and long-range shooting drills. The results were very good. Good, 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 Yan Zhangping excitedly said 3 goods in a row, and tears seemed to flash in the corners of his eyes. Seeing this scene, Yan Fangfang hurriedly walked over and took his arm. Since she was little, she had never seen her father with tears in his eyes. In her impression, her father was a steel-like man with an indestructible will, and today, he was actually crying. Although he didn't really cry out, she was no longer the ignorant girl she used to be, and she understood why her father had tears in his eyes. He was happy for the soldiers. Xiao Chen, how much of this equipment do you have? Name a price, no matter how much. I want it all, Yan Zhangping said. Calming down, with such equipment, he would have the confidence to let his soldiers fight the zombies head-on. Commander Yan, I can continue to produce this equipment, but the current stock is not much, Dongfang Chen replied. Okay, then you go all out to produce it. However much you produce, I want however much there is, Yan Zhangping said in a big voice. Oh, Commander Yan, aren't you going to listen to the price first? Dongfang Chen reminded. Price? Yan Zhangping was about to say that he could name any price, but suddenly reacted that money was useless now. So he changed his words and asked, what do you want? Crystal cores, Dongfang Chen replied. Crystal cores? What are crystal cores? Yan Zhangping asked. Sure enough, the virus had been outbreaking for more than 5 months, but the higher-ups hadn't learned about crystal cores yet. Dad, it's this, Yan Fangfang said, taking out the crystal core she had obtained earlier from her pocket. The crystal cores in her hand were not large, after all, they were all tier 1 crystal cores. Yan Zhangping grabbed the crystal core. It was a blue polyhedron, crystal clear. He looked at it for a long time but couldn't figure out what it was. He asked, is this a stone? It's not a stone. It was taken out of a zombie's body, Yan Fangfang explained immediately. She told everything she knew about the crystal core. Chapter 40. The plan begins. I see, Yan Zhangping understood at the same time. He had an even higher opinion of this based things that the entire country of China couldn't figure out. All had answers here. It was truly amazing. Commander Yan, to be honest, although I need crystal cores, I don't want the soldiers to risk their lives to get them. So, I propose a compromise. Listen to it, Dongfang Chen said. Speak, Yan Zhangping said. I'll give you 100 sets of equipment on credit for the first batch, to equip some of the soldiers. With the protection of the equipment, it will definitely be much easier for the soldiers to obtain crystal cores. You can replenish me after you have collected enough crystal cores, Dongfang Chen said. Aren't you worried that I will default on the debt? Yan Zhangping asked. Commander Yan is joking. Our cooperation has only just begun. What are a few pieces of clothing? Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Yan Zhangping increasingly felt that the young man in front of him was good, and the initial sense of alienation was gone. What is your quoted price for this combat suit? Yan Zhangping asked. 100 crystal cores per piece, no bargaining, Dongfang Chen said. Yan Zhangping pondered slightly. Although he felt it was a bit expensive, it was expensive for a reason. So, he agreed. Okay. Then it's settled. That's how men buy things. If they like it, they have to buy it no matter how expensive it is. If they don't like it, they don't want it even if it's free. Yan Fangfang actually didn't remind her dad to haggle, which surprised Dongfang Chen a bit. After discussing the combat suit, Dongfang Chen also introduced the laser gun. However, the laser gun had limited damage and was limited by the scene. Energy bars had to be purchased separately, which really didn't interest him, so he could only give up after talking about these things. It was time for dinner. Dongfang Chen asked people to bring some food, and also brought a bottle of high-proof Fenju. The two of them began to exchange cups in the office. At about 8 o'clock in the evening, a messenger came in to report an emergency call from the military headquarters. Yan Zhangping took the call and said, "This is Yan Zhangping." "What?" Yan Zhangping stood up, the alcohol instantly dissipating. "Are you sure?" Okay. Immediately seal off the laboratory building. No one is allowed to enter or leave. All relevant personnel must sign a confidentiality agreement. All experimental samples and results must be sealed. Set this matter as top secret. No one is allowed to access it without permission. Yan Zhangping paced back and forth excitedly while issuing orders. He hung up the phone and sat down. He looked at Dongfang Chen, then at Yan Fangfang. The two of them also knew something was up, so they just looked at him without saying anything. "Tell me your request," Yan Zhangping said to Dongfang Chen. "What request?" Dongfang Chen pretended to be stupid. "Contribute the technical data," Yan Zhangping said. "Commander Yan. What nonsense are you talking about? How is that possible? Dongfang Chen refused. HMPH. I'm telling you, you can't protect this thing on your own, Yan Zhangping reminded him. Then can you protect it? Dongfang Chen asked back with a smile. You? Yan Zhangping was depressed, unexpectedly looked down upon, but thinking about it, he was just one of the 19 counselors. If they all came to put pressure on him, it would be enough to give him a headache. Commander Yan. Do you know what kind of person is unscrupulous? I'll tell you, someone who has nothing. So, let's talk about the price. Dongfang Chen said. Yan Zhangping didn't insist anymore and asked, let's hear your quote. 200 crystal cores per dose. Dongfang Chen replied, so cheap. That was Yan Zhangping's first reaction. This was a life-saving thing. Someone would snatch it up even for 20,000 crystal cores, but after thinking for a moment, he felt that it wasn't necessarily the case. This thing was still hoped to be used by ordinary people. For ordinary people, this price was very high. Yan Zhangping was repeatedly considering the price. Dongfang Chen took the opportunity to glance at Yan Fangfang, wondering why she didn't haggle. I haven't even said the lines I prepared. Yan Fangfang understood his meaning and gave an indifferent expression, meaning she didn't care. Sigh. This father and daughter, really, unpredictable. Dongfang Chen looked like he had seen through everything. In fact, Yan Fangfang didn't speak for her father for two reasons. First, who told him not to trust people? Second, Dongfang Chen needed resources, a lot of resources. With resources, he would have a greater chance of defeating the virus, so she didn't help Dongfang Chen to collude with her father, which was already fulfilling her duty as a good daughter. Okay, that's the price. However, you can only sell your antigen to me, Yan Zhangping said after thinking for a long time. Commander Yan, I'm sorry. I can give you a maximum of 80%, that's the limit. Dongfang Chen refused. Dongfang Chen said 80% on the surface, but in reality, he was just fooling people. He reserved 60% for Niu Xingwang, leaving only 40%, so where did 80% come from for him? In reality, he would only give him 30%, keeping 10% for himself. Why could he do this? The reason was simple, because no one knew his production capacity. He could say it was any percentage he wanted, he could just make it up. You silly kid. I'm protecting you, don't you understand? Yan Zhangping was amused. Commander Yan, a famous person doesn't speak frankly. Since I have the ability to produce antigens, can I not have the strength to protect myself? So, you don't need to worry about safety. In addition, although I'm giving you 80% of the production, I have an additional request, Dongfang Chen said. What request? It cannot be sold publicly, Dongfang Chen replied. What kind of medicine is this kid selling in his gourd? Why can't I understand that at all? Yan Zhangping was confused. He couldn't figure it out after thinking for a long time, so he simply asked, why? There's no why, because you don't have the ability, Dongfang Chen said. You? Yan Zhangping pointed at him, unable to speak. Damn it. Did I not look at the almanac when I went out today? I've been looked down upon by this kid repeatedly. Commander Yan, I don't mean to look down on you. I'm doing this for your own good. Think about it, you have the vaccine and you're selling it at such a high price. How will the ordinary people evaluate you? How will other counselors criticize you? Your position is too high, you have too many concerns, so don't wade into this water. Moreover, the production capacity is very low in the short term, only 2 doses a day, it's not even enough to sell. Dongfang Chen patiently explained to him, also giving him a way out. Only 2 doses a day, Yan Zhangping asked disdainfully. See. Exactly the same reaction as Yan Fangfang's initial reaction. Yes, Dongfang Chen replied very confidently, never showing any timidity when lying. Then what's there to talk about? It's settled then. Yan Zhangping agreed. Simply 2 doses a day wasn't even enough to fill the gaps between his teeth. There was no surplus to sell. The two of them discussed until dawn. In the middle, Yan Zhangping learned more about the red oxygen. He had to prepare for this in advance. Finally, it was agreed that Yan Fangfang would act as an intermediary, fully responsible for the transactions between them. In addition, Dongfang Chen told Yan Zhangping that after they left, the base would be destroyed. After that, the base would no longer exist. And the destroyer was Yan Zhangping himself. Was he making himself the scapegoat? However, Yan Zhangping considered it and agreed to do extraordinary things in extraordinary times. If the secrets of the base were exposed in the future, a destroyed base would be safer than an existing base. If someone came to Yan Zhangping, at most he would not admit it, nor would he deny it. It was right not to express his position. Sun Tzu's Art of War says, the best defense is not to let people know where to attack without a target to attack. the base would naturally be safe. December 10, 2054 AD at Dongfang Chen stood on the wall, watching Yan Zhangping, Yan Fangfang and others board the plane subsequently. Zhang Yuinke and Ling Zhanhe also left the base with their simulated mechanical dogs. Dongfang Chen stood on the wall for a long time, until the two disappeared from sight, then he turned and descended the wall subsequently. Under the destruction of countless spy ants, the base's walls and ground buildings were reduced to ruins. Chapter 41 Status Review. Xiaolin, display the space station status. OK, Commander. Panel switched, current space station level 1, with 4 modules, as follows: Power Module, Level 1, Core Module, Optical Brain Level 1, Central Hall, Level 1, Experiment Module, Level 1. The lower right corner displays the current status, upgradable. Xiaolin, how long will it take to upgrade the space station to Level 2? Dongfang Chen asked. Commander, the space station's main program upgrade mainly involves adjusting the pointers of the program valves, which doesn't take too long. It is estimated that it will take 10 minutes to complete the refresh. However, the module upgrades require the worker bee robots to collect materials, which will take a long time, Xiaolin explained. Does this mean that if the space station's main system program is not upgraded, the level of the modules cannot be improved? Dongfang Chen asked. Yes, Commander. The level of the modules cannot exceed the level of the main program. Okay, then upgrade the space station's main program to Level 2 first, Dongfang Chen said. Yes, Commander. Immediately afterward, the space station projection on the screen disappeared, displaying only one line of text: Space station upgrading, please wait. 10 minutes later, the screen refreshed, and the status of the space station was reloaded. Power Module, Level 2, Core Module, Optical Brain Level 2, Central Hall, Level 1, Experiment Module, Level 1. Xiaolin, what's next, Commander? It is recommended that you upgrade the Central Hall first. Only when the Central Hall is upgraded to Level 2 can the Experiment Module be upgraded, and new modules can be expanded. Okay, then upgrade the Central Hall, Dongfang Chen said. Yes, Commander. The status in the lower right corner started scrolling. Worker bee robots activated 100/100. Worker bee robots dispatched, collecting materials. At the same time, the status of the Central Hall turned yellow, with a large number displayed. 0%. After dealing with the space station, Dongfang Chen prepared to check the current status of the base. Xiaolin, switch to the base panel. Okay, Commander. Panel switched. The current base has the following functions: Underground Level 1, Living Area, Population 63/1200, Underground Level 2, Office Area, Training Area, Medical Area, Quarantine Area. Underground Level 3, Material Storage Area. Underground Level 4, Hive, Main Control. Underground Level 5, Power Generation Room. Underground Level 6, Production Area. The production area mainly includes the following modules: Food Category, Wheat Production Module X7, Potato Production Module X2, Cabbage Production Module X2, Pig Breeding Module X1, Incubation Module X1. Equipment Category, Combat Suit Production Module X1, Weapon Production Module X1, Special Equipment RU-00260 Module X1, Simulated Robot Manufacturing Module X1. Medicine Category, Antigen Serum Production Module X1. Xiaolin, can the number of antigen serum production modules be increased? Dongfang Chen asked. Sorry, Commander, due to raw material limitations, the number of antigen serum production modules cannot be increased, Xiaolin replied. How can it be increased? Dongfang Chen asked. Need crystal cores, Xiaolin replied. Okay, currently, crystal cores can only be provided by Yan Zhangping. For now, we can only wait. What is the current status of the supercomputing center? The supercomputing center is operating normally, and the current computing power usage is 35%. If we need to upgrade the supercomputing center later, how do we do it, Commander? After the Central Hall is upgraded to Level 2, RU-00260 module, Quantum Communication Module, and Payload Module can be added. The upgrade of the supercomputing center requires these 3 modules as preconditions. Okay, I understand. Southwest Military Region Command, Secretary Yan, call Rongpo over here, Yan Zhangping said. Yes. Half an hour later, report, enter, Commander, you were looking for me. Yes. Go inside and change into a set of equipment. Yan Zhangping pointed to the inner room of his office. Yes. 10 minutes later, Commander, Why does this outfit feel so weird? Rongpo asked awkwardly. Wearing a black bodysuit and combat boots, holding a hood in his hand, the scene was indeed a bit strange, like wearing long underwear without pants, and then wearing a pair of sneakers directly. Yan Xiangping directly picked up the notebook on the table and threw it over. Can't you put on the outer pants, you brat? Yes. Rongpo hurriedly ran back into the inner room this time. He looked normal when he came out. Why aren't you wearing the hood? Yan Xiangping's face tightened. Commander, this... Rongpo was very embarrassed. What's wrong? No. Wearing this hood makes me look like a terrorist. Put it on for me. Yan Xiangping couldn't help but want to slap him. Yes. After being fully armed, Yan Xiangping walked around him, looked at him, and then said, you also pick a sharp knife platoon and have them all change into this kind of clothes. Then go to Mapo village to eliminate 100 zombies and bring back their heads. What? Commander. Haven't you always opposed everyone going out to kill zombies? Rongpo thought he had misheard. This time is different. Go ahead. Come back to me after completing the mission. Remember, do not take off the hood, Yan Xiangping said. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42, First Collection of Crystal Cores. This time is different, you go. Come back to me after the mission is completed. Remember, no removing the headgear, Yan Xiangping said. Yes, Mapo village is the closest village to the headquarters, only a 15-minute drive away. 3 hours later, report, enter. Rongpo walked in excitedly. Commander, where did you get this outfit? Get us a few hundred more sets for Dongfang, HMPH. Weren't you looking unwilling just now? Yan Xiangping said, squinting. Commander, it was my dog eyes that didn't recognize gold inlaid with jade. Don't hold it against me. You see, Rongpo looked at him expectantly. This outfit isn't cheap. I had to use my old face to get these 100 sets on credit. Yan Xiangping shook his head. Commander, don't try to fool me. I know that there's nowhere to spend money outside now. You can give him as much as he wants. Rongpo wasn't fooled. HMPH. You're too smart. This stuff can't be bought with money. Yan Xiangping glanced at him and continued, then what do you use to buy it? Rongpo didn't understand. Crystals, Yan Xiangping replied. Crystals? What are crystals? Rongpo continued to ask. Did you bring back the zombie's head? Yan Xiangping asked. Yes, we brought it back. It's in the quarantine area, Rongpo replied. Let's go. Over there. Yan Xiangping stood up, put on his military cap, and walked out. Rongpo followed closely behind. A platoon that had gone out to perform a mission was waiting in the quarantine area, all craning their necks to look when they saw the commander coming. Everyone hurriedly stood at attention and saluted behind them. 100 zombie heads were piled together, looking a bit creepy. Commander, don't get too close. Rongpo protected Yan Xiangping, reminding him although the virus is not transmitted through the air, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's okay. You guys go over there, use your daggers to cut open the back of their heads, and see if there's anything special, Yan Xiangping ordered. Yes, the soldiers, one by one, took out their daggers and began searching. Report, Commander, a discovery. Report, Commander, a discovery. Well, put all the things you dug out over here and count them. Yan Xiangping said. In a minute or two, all the crystals were gathered. Report, Commander. Counted, a total of 98. A soldier reported. Commander, is this the crystal you were talking about just now? Rongpo asked. Yes, comrades, the things you just dug out are called crystals. According to reliable sources, zombies that have been zombified for more than 15 days will form such crystals in the back of their heads. In the future, when you are eliminating zombies, collect these crystals as much as possible, Yan Xiangping said. Yes, everyone responded. Commander, can this thing be exchanged for the black clothes we're wearing? Rongpo was still concerned about the equipment. Yan Xiangping ignored him and continued loudly. The black clothes you are wearing are called the Guardian 1 combat suit. Everyone has performed a mission. Let's talk about your feelings. Report, Commander, this outfit is amazing. The zombie bit down, but it didn't break through. Report, Commander, my arm was scratched. Look, the outside of the clothes is broken, but the inside is intact. Report, Commander, the clothes are very light to wear and do not hinder body movement at all. Report, Commander, this headgear looks like a terrorist. Can it be made to look better? everyone spoke one after another. Most people were talking about the advantages. The only issue is that it looked like a terrorist. Comrades, everyone knows. During this period, in the battle with zombies, our sacrifices have been serious. Many soldiers have clearly suffered only minor injuries, but they have helplessly closed their eyes. The reason is that our equipment is not good, and it cannot protect our soldiers. Therefore, I ordered everyone to prohibit hunting zombies unless necessary. Jens Hangping paused here and continued, but now the situation is different. We have combat suits, and we have the confidence to fight zombies. Many people complain that the headgear is too ugly. What is that called? That's called ignorance. Without all-round protection, you are weak chickens in front of zombies, not even weak chickens. From today, only soldiers equipped with this combat suit can go out on missions. Those who don't have it, stay in the barracks obediently. Report. Rong Po shouted loudly. Speak, Commander, you haven't said how many crystals this combat suit needs. Rong Po asked in front of everyone to let everyone know that there was a price to pay for getting this outfit. This combat suit is not cheap. These crystals on the ground can only be exchanged for one. Jens Hangping replied. Rong Po breathed a sigh of relief. It was cheaper than he thought. This is only one crystal for going out for an hour or so. If they take the brothers out every day, everyone will soon have clothes like a snowball. The more people with equipment, the faster the speed of collecting crystals anyway. With this awesome equipment to protect them, the zombies can't do anything to them. Chapter 43 Niu Xingwang returns. Report. Commander, speak. The Xianfeng Assault Team's Sharp Knife 1st Platoon requests permission to engage. The platoon leader shouted loudly. Good. That's the spirit. Sharp Knife 1st Platoon, listen up. Jens Hangping yelled with a shui. Everyone moved in perfect unison. Soldiers, the time for our action has come. Unlimited firepower, kill them hard. Bring back those crystal cores for me. Jens Hangping shouted the last sentence. Bring back those crystal cores for me, would make anyone who didn't know better think Jens Hangping was a money grubber. In reality, he was anxious to get vaccines, and anxious to get more equipment. At the same time, he also hated those zombies for staining the warriors' hands with blood. Kill. 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 The soldiers had morale, courage, and confidence. When it came to getting crystal cores, their efficiency was definitely high. Brother, where are we going? Luer asked. We're going to Mazhao. Shen Wengang replied. Are we going to look for Ant? Luer continued to ask. We'll go look. If we can't find her, we'll lie low there. Okay. Luer had no objections. Platoon leader, are you planning to go to the King settlement? Ling Zhenhe communicated with Zhang Yuankui through bone mic. Forget it. Too many people I know. It's inconvenient to act. Zhang Yuankui replied. Then where are you planning to go? Kyoto. Zhang Yuankui replied. Ling Zhenhe paused for a few seconds, then said, you're still the platoon leader. You think so thoroughly. Kyoto was the political center of Hua country. Going there to lie low, the value you could bring would be absolutely immense. What about you? Zhang Yuankui asked in return. I'm not going back to my hometown either, I'll just wander around. Ling Zhenhe replied. Who's there? Yo. Boss Niu. You're still alive, the soldier guarding the entrance asked mockingly. What are you saying? What storms haven't I, old Niu, been through? I'm still living well. This time, Niu Xingwang wasn't intimidated by them. Oh ho. Boss Niu made a fortune on his trip. Tisk tisk, look at this get-up, truly a big boss. The guarding soldier acted like a hooligan, probably temporarily drafted. Niu Xingwang ignored them and strode forward. Stop. Boss Niu, you can't go in. What, want a bribe? Hey. Look at what you're saying. This is the rule, alright. I'm just afraid that it'll be easy to take in, but hard to spit out. Niu Xingwang joked, casually taking out 2 bars of chocolate from his bag and tossing them over. Don't worry. Once something's taken in, there's no reason to spit it out. The soldier had no idea what he meant. Niu Xingwang snorted coldly and walked through the security door. Boss Niu, you're back. Boss Niu, do you still have work? If you need people, look for me. Countless people greeted Boss Niu along the way. Boss Niu ignored them. Walking straight ahead, those who spoke and were ignored by Boss Niu glared, spat, and cursed silently behind him. Everyone did something different. Niu Xingwang didn't care. When he was at his lowest a few days ago, they had the same attitude. He carried a huge travel bag and walked straight into the King Settlement's temporary headquarters. Boss Niu, why are you here? Secretary Liu asked. Yo. Secretary Liu, why are you here? What, is Mayor Gong here? Niu Xingwang asked in surprise. Yes, he arrived yesterday, Secretary Liu replied. That's perfect, come on, take me to see Mayor Guang. Hey, Boss Niu. You can't go. Secretary Liu hurriedly stopped him. What? Secretary Liu, using people when you need them and ignoring them when you don't? Old Niu, I'm not even worthy to see Mayor Gong now. Niu Xingwang pretended to be unhappy. Secretary Liu thought to himself, you're not even worth a fart now. Is the mayor so easy to see? But even though he thought so in his heart, he couldn't say it on the surface. After all, the city hadn't settled a single penny of the construction funds for the 6 resettlement areas with him. Look at what you're saying. Mayor Guang is in a meeting right now. The King settlement is about to move north, and there's a lot of work to arrange, Secretary Liu explained. Secretary Liu, you're getting better and better at handling people. Niu Xingwang didn't believe a word of it. He was deliberately stopping him, worried that he would cry poor in front of Mayor Gong and demand payment, but at the same time, he had to save face, so he continued, like this. I only have 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes, if I see Mayor Gong, I won't talk about the engineering funds. I don't need the account either. Secretary Liu, what do you think? Really? Secretary Liu was suspicious. When old Niu, speak, my word is my bond, Niu Xingwang said heroically. All right. It's a deal. You come with me. Secretary Liu also went all out in order to reduce the burden on Mayor Guang. He was breaking his heart and losing all his face. Headquarters second floor office. Mayor Guang was chatting with team leader Liao. Seeing Secretary Liu leading Niu Xingwang in, both of them were stunned. How could this Secretary Liu be so tactless in his work? Why bring Niu Xingwang at this time? But since the person was already in, what could they do? Yo. Boss Niu, a rare guest. Why are you free to come sit today? Mayor Gong said. Mayor Gong, Boss Niu said he doesn't want the engineering funds. He considers it a generous contribution to our Binjiang city. Right, Boss Niu, Secretary Liu hurriedly explained, then glanced sideways as a hint. Oh? Boss Niu, is this true? Team leader Liao was overjoyed when he heard this, thinking, I knew it, this Secretary Liu is an old hand by Mayor Gong's side. He couldn't possibly be indiscreet in his work. That's right, that's how it is. Niu Xingwang cooperated, continuing, but there's another matter that I need to discuss with Mayor Gong privately. I wonder if it's convenient. Team leader Liao knew what he meant and hurriedly said, Boss Niu, you've done a great thing for our Binjiang. Mayor Guang, I happen to have something to do, so you guys chat. After speaking, he left the office. Secretary Liu also walked out and closed the door. Chapter 44 Recruitment Order. Boss Niu, please have a seat, Mayor Gong said. Okay, sure, Boss Niu, is there something you need to see me about today? Mayor Gong, I heard that our King resettlement is going to be relocated north. Niu Xingwang asked. Many people already knew about this, it wasn't a secret. Yes, that's right, Mayor Gong admitted. Then, I wonder where it will be relocated to. Currently, the tentative plan is to divide the people between Huaizhao and Mazhao, Mayor Gong said without hiding anything. Then where will you be transferred to? Mayor Gong, Niu Xingwang asked. Boss Niu, you're acting a bit strange today. Is there something on your mind? Mayor Gong asked, frowning. It's like this, Mayor Gong. I'm planning to establish a chamber of commerce. I was thinking of setting up the headquarters wherever you go. Niu Xingwang explained this was half true and half false. The purpose of saying this was more of a psychological suggestion, implying to Mayor Gong that he was his loyal supporter. Oh? Boss Niu wants to establish a chamber of commerce? What kind of business will it be doing? Mayor Gong asked clearly. Mayor Gong's attitude had become much warmer. Nothing much, just buying and selling some daily necessities, Niu Xingwang replied. Well, that's good. Currently, there's a shortage of supplies in the resettlement, and we need responsible and socially conscious businessmen like Boss Niu to engage in the collection and turnover of supplies, Mayor Gong said grandly. However, Mayor Gong, without your wise leadership, to be honest, I don't feel secure. Niu Xingwang still wanted to know where Mayor Gong would be transferred to. Boss Niu, rest assured. Our whole country is whole country under parliamentary governance. Wherever you do business, you will be guaranteed, Mayor Gong said, clearly against his will. What guarantee? Where was the guarantee? Hadn't he been given a single cent for the construction of the resettlement, almost starving him to death? Mayor Gong, you know a little about my situation. If I, Lao Niu, hadn't promised to donate all the project funds, you wouldn't even be seeing me today. Tell me, how can I feel secure? Niu Xingwang pretended to cry with grievance. It couldn't be said that he was completely pretending. After all, the grievance was real. Boss Niu, we can all see your contribution, and the people of Binjiang City will thank you. At this critical moment of life and death, we need to take a lighter view of our personal interests, don't you think? Mayor Gong said, uttering platitudes against his will. Mayor Gong is right. You're right. We can't only think about ourselves. Then how about this? You help me issue a certificate, and I'll go directly to Huaizhou. Coincidentally, I still have 10,000 caddies of grain in my hands, and I'll bring them all to Huaizhou. Niu Xingwang suddenly stood up and said righteously upon hearing about 10,000 caddies of grain. Mayor Gong immediately became anxious, thinking, damn, you old cow. Why didn't you mention having so much grain earlier? If I were to take this to Ma Zhao, that would be an incredible achievement. Sure enough, he's an old fox. Hey, Boss Niu. Look at your temperament, why are you in such a hurry? Even if we have a spirit of dedication, we must master the methods. Ma Zhao is in the south, closer to our Binzhou. It's better for you to go to Ma Zhao. What are you going to Huaizhou for? Didn't I just hear a few days ago that Huaizhou is short of grain? Then I'll definitely go wherever I'm needed. Boss Niu said nonsense. In this day and age, where isn't there a shortage of grain? Does he need to hear about it? Hey. You. Boss Niu, I'll be honest with you. Most of the people in our King resettlement will be relocated to Mazhao. The Milan ancient town in Mazhao was originally a 5A scenic spot. I believe you've been there before. Milan ancient town is our destination for this relocation. Think about how safe Milan is, with such high city walls all around. Zombies definitely can't climb in. Listen to me, you can't go wrong. Everyone go to Milan together. Mayor Gong explained in detail. Indeed, interest is the foundation of negotiation. Okay. Mayor Gong, I'll listen to you. I'll go to Milan, Niu Xingwang said, pretending to be excited. Hey. That's right. Well, it's almost dinner time. Don't leave. Let's have a simple meal together. And so, under the surprised gazes of everyone, Niu Xingwang and Mayor Gong had dinner together. Everyone had a common view in their minds. The former boss Niu is back. The soldier on duty at the gate trembled in his heart after hearing the news. Damn. It seems like I have to spit out the benefits I received. 3 days later, Yusa Province, Mazhao City, Suiyang Resettlement. Wow, so many people. What are they doing? Lu'er and her brother Shen Wengang had just arrived here after traveling for several days. Let's go take a look, Shen Wengang said. Recruitment notice. This was the first time Shen Wengang had seen such a thing in the past. He often saw things like missing person notices, recruitment ads, and small advertisements posted on the walls. When he was a boxing coach, he also went out to post them. The recruitment notice roughly stated that 4 people had gone to Mazhao City the day before yesterday, but there had been no news for 2 days. They wanted to recruit a few people to go to the city to find them, and there would be a generous reward. The publisher was called Mei Wenhua. No culture? What kind of name is that? Shen Wengang wanted to laugh a little. The onlookers were talking about it, and Shen Wengang stood next to them listening. It turned out that this Mei Wenhua was a local businessman, quite famous, the boss of a chain supermarket. Although he was now hiding in the resettlement like everyone else, he had supplies in his hands and was still living a good life. As for what relationship the 4 people to be found in the recruitment notice had with him, it wasn't mentioned above, and no one knew. Listening further, it was just some gossip, of no value. So Shen Wengang took his sister and left. Chapter 45 Recruitment Assessment. Brother, where are we going? Lu'er asked. We're going to find no culture, Shen Wengang replied. No culture? Lu'er was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. Haha, brother, you're so funny. Mei Wenhua, no culture. Ha. How did you figure it out, brother? Why would he choose such a name? Lu'er chattered on and on, leaving Shen Wengang speechless. Was it really that funny? Such a low sense of humor. However, seeing his sister's sunny smile, he felt quite happy himself. 2 dogs, one on each side, silently followed the 2 people, extremely obedient. Soon, following the address on the recruitment notice, Shen Wengang arrived at the door of a secluded courtyard. Most people in the settlement lived in tents. To be able to get a courtyard here, one had to be capable. Who are you looking for? After Shen Wengang knocked on the door, a girl in her 20s came out. She seemed to be an assistant or something, dressed in professional attire. Hello, we're here according to the address on the recruitment notice, Shen Wengang said. Oh. Hello, please come in. The girl opened the door and led them inside. Sorry, pets are not allowed inside, the girl said, stopping them when she saw two large dogs following behind. Oh, is that so? But they are very well behaved. They won't run around or bark, right? Dawaya, Lu'er explained. Lu'er named her dog Dawaya. Beansprout Dawaya nodded in cooperation. Is this dog a spirit? The girl looked puzzled. So cute. What to do? She liked them so much. While the girl was in a daze, Lu'er spoke again. Miss, Dawaya will get lost if left outside. Please let them in. Okay, alright. But let them follow me first after they come in. You can pick them up when you leave, the girl said. Yay. Thank you, Miss. Lu'er was very happy, and the girl smiled awkwardly. The courtyard was designed in a very simple and ancient style. The first thing you see when you enter the courtyard gate is a screen wall made of blue bricks. A huge lotus flower was carved on the screen wall. In the upper right corner were two lines of inscription, rising from the mud, yet unstained, washed by the clear ripples, yet unalluring. After passing the screen wall, the courtyard was already full of people. It seemed that they were all here to apply. Although there were many people, they were all sallow-faced and emaciated, with unkempt hair and dirty faces, and their clothes were mostly tattered. On the steps in front of the main room was a grandmaster's chair, and a middle-aged man in his 40s was leaning on it. He occasionally picked up his thermos cup, unscrewed the lid, and took a sip of tea. President May, the people are almost here. Let's begin, a young woman wearing glasses and professional attire said, bowing her head. The middle-aged man didn't speak, but nodded slightly. Hello everyone. Welcome, warriors, to apply. However, for the sake of responsibility to everyone, we will conduct some basic assessments to determine everyone's strength. Only those who pass the assessment can participate in this operation. So next, let's begin the first assessment, weightlifting. Under the guidance of the young woman, the group came to a corner of the courtyard. A barbell was placed in the corner, but its weight was unknown. Here's a barbell, weighing 60 kilograms. No matter what method you use, as long as you successfully lift a barbell and hold it for 5 seconds, you will be considered qualified. Reminder, if you can't do it, don't force it, to avoid injury. Alright, let's begin. A young man with a stopwatch was already standing quietly by the side, waiting. The people lined up and tried one by one. 60 kilograms, which is 120 pounds. It's really a bit difficult for people who don't usually do heavy work to lift it as expected. Several people in a row failed. Some 2 people couldn't even lift a barbell even 1 centimeter. It can't be entirely blamed on them. They haven't had anything good to eat for months, and they were dizzy from hunger. Where would they have much strength, then? A strong man shouted loudly. His face was flushed red, and the blood vessels and veins on his neck bulged. He finally managed to hold on for 5 seconds. The crowd applauded and cheered. However, without exception, everyone behind him failed this time. It was Shen Wengang's turn. Shen Wengang wasn't sure if he could lift 120 pounds. So he stretched out his hands and tentatively used some force first. That's not right. The barbell was lifted slightly, then put down. The crowd thought he had given up. Unexpectedly, Shen Wengang stood up and didn't leave. Instead, he put down the long object wrapped tightly in cloth that he was carrying on his back, moved his wrists, and prepared to try again. He grabbed the handle with both hands, and with a light lift, the barbell was successfully lifted over his head. His face was not red, and he was not out of breath. He looked effortless. The crowd was astonished. Even the middle-aged man sitting at the door of the main room couldn't help but be shocked. Good fellow. That's real strength. Alright, that's enough. The young woman next to him reminded him. Shen Wengang put down the barbell only after hearing the reminder. The crowd cheered in unison. Shen Wengang picked up the long object leaning next to him and walked down. Then, Lu'er walked up. Jin Luo, what are you doing? Shen Wengang scolded. The infiltrators have a rule that they must use code names when outside. So in front of everyone, Shen Wengang no longer called her Lu'er. Brother, I want to try too, Lu'er said with a smile. Nonsense, come down quickly, Shen Wengang ordered. Chapter 46. Lu'er's strength. Big sister, if I don't sign up, can I go to the city with my brother? Lu'er ignored him and turned to ask the young woman beside her. I'm sorry, I'm afraid not, the woman said apologetically. What if I secretly follow along? Lu'er continued to ask. If you do that, I'm afraid not only will you not get paid, but we will also be implicated. You may not be clear, but the people we recruit need to be registered with the headquarters. If there are any accidents, we will also bear joint responsibility. So, if you insist on going, Either sign up, or we won't dare to use either of you, the woman explained. Did you hear that, brother? You don't want to leave me alone in the settlement, do you? Luer asked with a smile. Well, then give it a try. Don't force yourself if you can't do it. At worst, we just won't go. Shen Wengang reminded her. Luer nodded lightly and placed a long object on her back against the wall. She stretched her wrists. Her intuition told her that she could lift this barbell. However, to be safe, she first gently lifted it like Shen Wengang to feel the weight. Whoa, this action surprised the onlookers. Even the young woman beside her was shocked. Is this really a young girl of 18 or 19? How can she be so strong? You know, there were several men before who couldn't even lift it. Several men in the crowd wished they could find a hole to crawl into. It was embarrassing. Luer put down the barbell, looked at her brother, and nodded, meaning she could do it. Shen Wengang also nodded, indicating his agreement. Seeing her brother agree, Luer lowered her head again, took a deep breath, and concentrated. She gripped the barbell with both hands, exerted force, and lifted. She lifted it. She really lifted it, the crowd exclaimed in unison. After about 7 or 8 seconds, Luer put down the barbell, her face flushed from holding her breath. Brother, look, I lifted it, Luer said happily. Shen Wengang gave her a thumbs up. The crowd burst into thunderous applause. Soon, the first test was completed. Out of dozens of people, only 8 passed the test. The rest were eliminated and left dejectedly. Okay, next we will conduct the second test, shooting, the young woman said to the remaining 8 applicants. The shooting mentioned here is not with a gun, but with a crossbow. Because guns are forbidden among the people, everyone can only use crossbows as weapons. Hello, can my sister and I not participate in this test? Because we have weapons, we don't need these crossbows, Shen Wengang asked. The young woman looked at Mei Wenhua sitting on the steps and asked for his opinion. Mei Wenhua nodded lightly, indicating his agreement. All right then, the 2 of you can skip the second round of testing, the young woman said. The others had no objections. Anyway, they were not competitors, so it didn't matter. The requirements for the second round were not difficult. Each person had 5 arrows, and as long as 1 arrow hit the bullseye, it was considered qualified. In the end, only 1 person was eliminated. The third round did not involve any further testing, but instead, a document was produced. The young woman distributed the document to each person and said, "This is the final test. What you have in your hands is a letter of commitment. Here, I need to remind everyone, once the letter of commitment is signed, it means that you fully understand the risks of this mission and are voluntarily participating. Of course, you can choose to sign or not, that is your right. I will give you 10 minutes to consider." Shen Wengang carefully looked through the contents of the letter of commitment, which was nothing more than an agreement on some disclaimers in the event of various accidents. In short, it meant that they did not want to take responsibility. After reading it, Shen Wengang picked up a pen and signed his name. Xiangang Luer also followed her brother's example and signed her name, Qian Luo. The young woman glanced at the document and didn't look closely. Perhaps in her eyes, whether these people had names or not had nothing to do with her. Who would care if they really died outside? Who would investigate? Among the 7 people, 2 refused to sign such a hegemonic clause and left angrily. In the end, the number of people performing the mission was only 5. Early the next morning, the 5 people sat in 2 jeeps and arrived in the suburbs of Mazhao City. The weather was bad today, with a light drizzle. The temperature in December was already very low, and walking on the road covered with fallen leaves felt very damp and cold. Shen Wengang and Luer were fine. They had the protection of combat suits, and their movements were natural. The other 3 people were not so good, walking forward carefully while their teeth chattered from the cold. Luer glanced at the 3 of them, but said nothing before they set off. The young woman provided each person with a map of Mazhao and marked the possible locations of the 4 targets. She promised that if they could not find anyone in several locations, then the mission would be considered complete, and they could return. Hey, brother, where should we go first? A man asked Shen Wengang. Let's go in order, go around in a circle, and then come back here, Shen Wengang said, taking out the map. Isn't that too slow? The man questioned. Chapter 47, Level 2 Zombie appears. Isn't this too slow? The man questioned. It is a bit slow, but it's more reliable, Shen Wengang explained. How about this? There are 6 places in total. We each go to one, and we all go to the last one together, the man suggested. Shen Wengang frowned, thinking, this is just nonsense. If we split up, what if we encounter zombies? How about this, brothers? The 3 of us will go to these 3 places in the west, and you 2 go to those 2 places in the east. Then, we'll meet at the destination closest to us, investigate, and return together. What do you think? Without waiting for Shen Wengang to reply, the man continued, "Hey, what's wrong with you? Do you have a death wish?" Lu'er said angrily. Shen Wengang pulled his sister back and replied, "All right. Let's do it that way." After speaking, he pulled his sister and set off. "Brother, that guy is so annoying, acting like we're going to be a burden to them," Lu'er complained as they walked. "Forget it. You can't talk sense into someone who's determined to die. It's better to split up, so they don't drag us down later." Shen Wengang said the traffic in the city was severely congested, and the two moved very slowly. It took them 3 hours to reach the first target location. This was a large supermarket, and the glass at the entrance was completely shattered. From the scene, it was clear that this place had been looted many times before. "Brother, should we go in?" Lu'er asked. "We have to go in." "Lu'er, get your weapon ready," Shen Wengang said, taking the long object from his back, removing the cloth wrapped around it, revealing a Type 1 Guardian laser gun. Lu'er also took out her gun. The two raised their guns, crouched down, and slowly walked into the supermarket. They turned on the night vision function of their digital eye implants and searched the supermarket, but found nothing. "Strange. Brother, why aren't there any zombies in here?" Lu'er asked, puzzled. "I don't know either. Let's go. Let's get out of here. We'll go to the next place," Shen Wengang said, walking on the road. Lu'er asked, "Brother, do you think it's possible that there are no zombies in Mazhao City at all?" "How is that possible? If there were no zombies, why would people evacuate?" Shen Wengang replied. "That's true. Then it's strange," Lu'er thought, unable to understand. The other target location wasn't far away, and the two arrived in half an hour. It was already around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was barely raining anymore. The two found a corner, took off their hoods in turns, ate some food, and drank some water. The two dogs squatted quietly in two different directions, observing. The layout of the supermarket was similar to the previous place. The same signs, the same brands, and a similar layout inside. Stepping into the supermarket entrance, looking around, it was empty, not even a shelf. "This isn't normal, Lu'er, be careful, there's something strange here," Shen Wengang warned. "Okay," Lu'er responded. The two proceeded step by step, cautiously and slowly. Bang! With a loud noise, an iron gate suddenly fell at the entrance, blocking the door. "Not good. An ambush," Shen Wengang shouted. The two quickly ran towards the exit. The iron gate was welded together with very thick twisted steel, very heavy and very strong, and it seemed to be held in place by latches at the top. The two tried hard to lift it up, but couldn't. Just as they were anxiously trying to figure out a solution, a strange zombie roar came from inside. "Eliminate the zombies first," Shen Wengang said to Lu'er. They quickly raised their guns and aimed inside. Oh my god, the back of their necks felt cold. Looking ahead, it was densely packed with zombies. Under the night vision effect, each zombie's eyes glowed green. Walking in the front was a taller and stronger zombie, which seemed to be the leader here, a second-tier zombie. Shen Wenggang's first reaction, because first-tier zombies have no intelligence at all. Under the maintenance of the crystal core energy, the brain nerves and the virus combine to form a very low-level biocurrent. In this way, zombies have the most primitive biological reaction, the instinct to prey. So zombies exhibit the characteristic of devouring. Symbiosis is a very common phenomenon in the biological world. For example, hundreds of kinds of bacteria coexist in our human body. They live in harmony with humans and depend on each other. Compared with first-tier zombies, the energy purity of the crystal core of second-tier zombies is doubled, and the biocurrent is stronger. Under this stimulation, zombies have a more advanced biological reaction, territorial awareness. They begin to have fixed strongholds and will not leave easily, and attack any enemies who dare to invade the territory. At the same time, their skin begins to show callousing. According to the degree of callousing, second-tier zombies can be roughly divided into initial, mid, and late stages. The skin callousing degree of second-tier zombies in the early stage is relatively low, while the skin callousing degree of second-tier zombies in the late stage is already very high. This is also a simple way to distinguish second-tier zombies. Standing in front of them right now was obviously a late-stage second-tier zombie. Its skin surface was covered with thick calluses, causing its body to bulge out a large circle, making it look exceptionally strong. Laser guns cannot easily harm second-tier zombies, so Shen Wengang simply didn't try. Chapter 48. It as a trap. Lu'er, eliminate the level 1 zombies first, Shen Wengang shouted. The two constantly changed positions, eliminating the approaching level 1 zombies one by one in their movements. Meanwhile, The level 2 zombie slowly followed from a slightly farther distance, seemingly not in a hurry to attack. When the two began to attack, the two mechanical dogs also pounced forward. However, the zombies neither dodged nor attacked them. The most likely reason was that the mechanical dogs did not possess the aura of life. Therefore, the mechanical dogs entered the zombie horde as if entering a land devoid of people. Each energy bar of the Guardian A laser gun could only fire a maximum of 60 shots, and the energy was quickly depleted. There were too many zombies, and they were too close, so they didn't have time to replace the energy bars. They could only take out the daggers strapped to their legs and begin hand-to-hand combat. Big brother, why is it taking so long? Hasn't it ended inside yet? One of the men hiding in the shadows outside asked. The leading man didn't answer, frowning as he continued to listen to the movements inside. They were the three people who had come to Mazhao with Shen Wengang and Lu Er to carry out the recruitment mission. The scene returns to the interior of the supermarket. Although the two weren't afraid of being bitten by zombies, there were simply too many. Before long, they were already physically exhausted. Suddenly, the leading level 2 zombie moved. It was incredibly fast, heading straight for Shen Wengang. Lu Er saw this scene, and before she could even remind him, he was sent flying by a punch. Brother, Lu Er shouted loudly, but she was unable to split herself due to the constant entanglement of the zombies. Shen Wengang was caught off guard by the sudden attack, and his chest churned violently. He could only kneel there, clutching his chest and gasping for breath. Soon, the zombies surrounded him again. Lu Er became anxious and shouted, throwing her dagger directly. A miraculous scene appeared. The dagger she threw didn't fall to the ground but flew back and forth in the air. After piercing through the head of one zombie, it returned and pierced through the head of another. That's right, this was Lu Er's mutated ability. Mental control. However, due to lack of training, and because everyone doted on her, her mastery of this ability was only so. This enraged the level 2 zombie. It let out a loud roar, and all the zombies swarmed towards Lu Er. Seeing this scene, Shen Wengang became extremely anxious. Ignoring his pain, he stood up and quickly chased after her. Seeing that Lu Er was about to be squeezed in the middle and unable to move, Shen Wengang, in desperation, activated the tag 100,000 nanobots, invisible to the naked eye, surged out of his body, heading straight for the zombies. Lu Er, activate the tag, Shen Wengang shouted. Soon, the zombies began to become chaotic. They no longer besieged Lu Er but fled in all directions, flailing their arms and legs and screaming loudly. Slowly, they collapsed to the ground and stopped moving. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief. Lu Er quickly ran towards her brother, and the two mechanical dogs returned to their side after all the zombies had fallen. Now, only the level 2 zombie standing at the back remained. It was furious, roaring fiercely. The two dogs also bared their ferocious fangs, bravely guarding their master. Lu Er, can you still hold on? Shen Wengang asked. Yes. Lu Er nodded. Okay. Next, I'll use the laser gun to attract its attention, and you'll use mental control to attack the joints of its legs with a dagger, Shen Wengang instructed while replacing the laser gun's magazine. Okay, Lu Er readily agreed. Okay. Listen to my command. Ready, begin. Shen Wengang gave the order and fired the first shot. Lu Er reached out her hand, controlling the dagger to fly towards the level 2 zombie's joints. The skin of the joints was also very tough, and the dagger pierced several times in a row without breaking through. Lu Er was already covered in sweat. This couldn't continue. Shen Wengang decisively aimed the laser gun at the knee joint, switching to burst mode. The high temperature caused by the continuous laser bombardment greatly weakened the hardness of the joint skin. Lu Er also understood her brother's intention and, when the joint began to turn red, struck decisively. The dagger successfully pierced through the zombie's joint. With a cracking sound, the like joint fractured, and the zombie lost its balance and crashed to the ground. At this moment, Lu Er had no strength left and fainted to the ground. Shen Wengang quickly stepped forward, grabbed the dagger, and repeatedly attacked the same spot on the zombie's head. He didn't know how many times he stabbed, but finally, the zombie's scalp was pierced. His strength was also getting weaker and weaker, but he kept stabbing down. The zombie no longer struggled, and the entire supermarket finally fell silent. Shen Wengang gradually lost strength, collapsing on the zombie and falling asleep. Big brother, there's no sound, one of the men outside said. Shut up, the man called, scolded, then pressed his ear against the wall and continued to eavesdrop. After repeatedly confirming that there was indeed no sound, the three men cautiously walked to the door, pressed the button, and opened the closed iron gate. They naturally didn't dare to go in, only observing from the doorway. After waiting for a long time without any special circumstances occurring, they turned and left. Mazhao City, Suiyang Resettlement. Big brother, the matter has been taken care of, said the leading man who had rushed back from the Moscow City area. Yes, you did a good job. Go and collect your reward, Mei Wenhui said faintly, taking a sip of tea. Thank you, big brother. The man thanked him with a bow and left. President Mei, what next? The young woman standing beside him asked. Let's wait for now. According to the divine envoy, Nana is likely to advance to level 3. At this time, we must be more cautious and should not bring people over in the short term, Mei Wenhui said. Yes, the woman replied. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Emergency Plan. Commander, Xiangang and Qianluo encountered a Tier 2 zombie in Moscow City, Xiaolin reported. What's the situation now? Dongfang Chen asked. The Tier 2 zombie is dead. The two of them are unconscious, Xiaolin replied. Tier 2 zombies possess territorial awareness, so other zombies should rashly enter its territory. They should be relatively safe inside. Remotely send instructions to the mechanical dogs to closely protect their safety, Dongfang Chen said. Yes, Commander. Are there any other people nearby? Dongfang Chen asked. The closest are Niuzing Wang, who just arrived at the Milan settlement, and Yung from the Huailing settlement, Xiaolin replied. Looks like there's no way to send reinforcements to them. They can only rely on themselves. I should have hardened my heart and trained Luer properly before, otherwise this situation wouldn't have happened today, Dongfang Chen thought. Xiaolin, how is the construction of the safe houses going? Dongfang Chen asked. The so-called safe houses were secret entrances used to connect with the outside world after the base's main entrance was destroyed. The first batch of safe houses totaled 12. For safety, their locations were set relatively far away, scattered in several abandoned courtyards in the suburbs of Binsao City. If a safe house was exposed later, it would be immediately destroyed at the same time. An underground passage directly connected to the base would be set up below each safe house. Tracks were set up in the passage, similar to a horizontal elevator, which could transport goods and people. The safe house closest to us has been completed, the passage has been opened, and the second one is under construction, Xiaolin reported. Okay, share the location with Fang Ho and Niuzing Wang. Tell them that all future transactions will be conducted there. Yes, Commander. Hua Country, Kyoto, Parliament Building, December 15, 2054, morning. Councillor Yan, is your information reliable? A man in his 60s asked. Speaker, it's absolutely true. As you know, someone provided us with complete information about the virus when the pandemic broke out. That's right, the speaker replied. The person who revealed that information is the same person, Yan Zhangping replied. The speaker nodded and asked everyone, what does everyone think? I have a question. A woman in her 50s spoke up. Oh? Councillor Hu, please speak, Yan Zhangping said politely. Councillor Hu Qingying served as the Minister of Health, and the Emergency Response Department also fell under her jurisdiction. How can you prove that the source of the information is the same as last time? Hu Qingying asked. I'm sorry, I can't prove it. But similarly, I can't prove that the source of the information is different, Yan Zhangping replied. Then, if that's the case, why is it that everyone else didn't receive the message this time, and only you did? He Jinghu, the Minister of Security, immediately followed up. Then you'll have to ask the person who sent the message himself, Councillor Yan replied, and politely the scene fell silent for a moment. All right. Since the person who sent the message has a way to evade our investigation, there's no practical point in discussing this issue further. Let's return to the previous topic. Lao Jing, what do you say? The speaker said. Lao Jing, Jing Chang, a member of parliament and the current Minister of Culture, is a material science expert. The substance red oxygen does exist, but it's not stable. Moreover, the environment outside the atmosphere is affected by radiation, and the situation is complex and volatile. As for whether it can form such a stable icosahedral structure, I can't judge at the moment. I can only say that it's logically plausible, Jing Cheng replied. In that case, immediately order the science department to establish a task force to conduct research on this topic after you return, the speaker said. Okay, Jing Cheng replied. Councillor Yan, since we can't determine the authenticity of the information at the moment, what suggestions do you have? The speaker turned to Yan Zhangping and asked. Personally, I believe it's better to be safe than sorry. The collapse of the entire ecosystem will have a fatal impact on us humans. I propose that we immediately discuss and formulate an emergency plan to cope with potential future risks. Jens Hangping replied. Okay, does anyone have different opinions? The speaker asked. No one answered. Since everyone has no different opinions, let's begin the vote. Those who agree to formulate an emergency plan, please raise your hands. The speaker announced. The councillors raised their hands one after another. Okay, 17 votes in favor. In that case, tomorrow we will move on to the next item on the agenda, discussing the emergency plan. Meeting adjourned. The speaker said, Yusa Province, Mazao City, Milan Settlement, Bosnia. I didn't lie to you, right? Milan is a treasure trove. Since the Warring States period, this place has been a strategic location for military strategists. Look at these tall walls, rows of houses. That's definitely the best condition in the settlement. Mayor Gong and Niu Xingwang walked down the street, talking as they walked. Of course, following Mayor Gong is definitely the right choice. Boss Nia flattered. By the way, how is your Chamber of Commerce being prepared? Mayor Gong cut to the chase. Still in preparation, Niu Xingwang said awkwardly. Have you encountered any problems? Mayor Gong asked suspiciously. Chapter 50 On-Site Recruitment. Things are different now compared to peacetime. There aren't so many rules and regulations. Forming a Chamber of Commerce doesn't require submitting paperwork or waiting for approval. As long as you have a place and manpower, can't you just start it up? Why are you still preparing? Mayor Gong wasn't concerned about other things, but he was extremely anxious about the grain. He was worried about those 10,000 caddies of grain. Mayor Gong, there aren't any major problems, just a lack of manpower, Niu Xingwang said awkwardly. Is that so? That's easy to solve. I'll have Secretary Liu arrange a special recruitment fair for you in a little while. How about that? Mayor Gong suggested. Mayor Gong, forget about the recruitment. As you know, it's very dangerous outside now. Ordinary people going out are just offering themselves up as fodder. If possible, could you arrange for some veterans or something? I don't need too many. 100 people's enough. Niu Xingwang revealed his purpose. Is that so? That's fine. Then I'll have Secretary Liu issue an announcement and let you personally interview them. Mayor Gong readily agreed. He was anxious. Only with surplus grain at home could he feel at ease. Then I'm very grateful to Mayor Gong. Rest assured, as long as I have enough manpower, I'll immediately arrange for people to transport the grain over, Niu Xingwang guaranteed. Boss Niu, then I'll await your good news, Mayor Gong said with a meaningful smile. The meaning was, I've met your request. If there's no grain, you'll be in trouble. Rest assured, Boss Niu smiled foolishly, as if he didn't understand. Not long after the two separated, Secretary Liu came to find him. After agreeing on some details, he hurriedly left. Secretary Liu was very efficient. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, many people had gathered in the square. What's your name? Xiao Yinghua. Age? 38. Were you in the military? Yes. Okay, go fill out the form. Next, Boss Niu's interview efficiency was also very high. As long as they had been in the military, were under 42 years old, and weren't disabled, they were considered to have passed. So, 100 people were quickly recruited inside the Binjiang City underground base. Hello, Brother Niu. Dongfang Chen was in the office when he saw Niu Xingwang calling and answered it. Mr. Dongfang, I've recruited 100 veterans here. What's next? Our first safe house has been completed, and the location has been shared with you. You can take the people directly there to pick up the goods, Dongfang Chen said. Okay, Mr. Dongfang, Niu Xingwang replied. By the way, Brother Niu, the current inventory of antigens is 75. Allocating 60% to you only amounts to 45. From these 100 people, pick some trustworthy ones, but don't exceed this number. After arriving at the safe house, inject them all. Would that be too wasteful? Niu Xingwang asked incredulously. It's not wasteful. With people, there are resources. We have to speed things up. But don't tell them it's an antigen, just make up a reason, Dongfang Chen said. Okay, I understand. Niu Xingwang hung up the phone and returned to the square. The 100 newly recruited people formed a queue, standing in 5 rows. Although their clothes were dirty, their posture was straight, and you could tell they had a foundation. Hello everyone, welcome to join the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Niu Xingwang. I was previously the boss of Dingxin Real Estate in Binzhou City. I'm sure many of you have heard of me, so I won't say more. Looking at the disheveled crowd, Niu Xingwang continued, listen to my command, All of you stand in a line. The 100 people on the scene quickly took action, forming a long straight line. Very good. Next, everyone listen carefully to my questions. If you meet the conditions, take a step forward. If you don't meet the conditions, stay where you are. Did everyone hear clearly? Niu Xingwang shouted loudly. Yes, everyone shouted in unison. Okay. First question, anyone whose parents are in Milan, take a step forward. Niu Xingwang shouted. Everyone hesitated for a moment, and then almost 50 people stepped forward. Anyone whose children are in Milan, take a step forward. Niu Xingwang continued to shout. Of the 50-plus people in front, another 40-plus people stepped forward, and of the 40-plus people in the back, a dozen or so stepped forward at this time. The queue had become 3 rows. The first row had 40-plus people, the second row had 20-plus people, and the last row had 30-plus people. Okay, the 43 people in the first row form group 1, and the people in the second and third rows form group 2. Divide into 2 groups and reorganize the formation. Everyone divided into 2 squares and stood again. You over here are group 1, serving as the field operations group. You over here are group 2, serving as the internal affairs group. Niu Xingwang said, walking to the 2 groups respectively. That's not right, Boss Niu. Did you get it backwards? Secretary Liu, who had been standing next to him without speaking, reminded him. Oh? Secretary Liu, what's backwards? Niu Xingwang asked. Shouldn't those with parents and children be in the internal affairs group? Why are they in the field operations group? Secretary Liu said. Secretary Liu, I don't quite understand what you're saying, Niu Xingwang said, pretending not to know. Look, those who have parents and children to take care of should stay at home. Those with fewer parents and children are more suitable for field operations, Secretary Liu explained. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.